for strike 3.
So a really good display as we see the afternoon go on of just how effective a pitcher can be simply by changing speeds and hitting their locations. Breaking ball in for strike 1 to the first baseman, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he
number
will
24.
use that breaking ball to keep the hitters off balance, and he will use that as a get-me-over to get strikes early in the count.
And doing a much better job than his last appearance at getting ahead of hitters so far in this inning. Possibly something that let Cole Mentor down slightly in his last appearance. He fell behind a few of the Brisbane hitters. But certainly not a bad start, not a bad appearance in his last appearance against the Brisbane Bandits, only giving up 1 run there.
Well, we do have much higher expectations of Cole Mentor than we would of the typical ABL pitcher, of course.
And a fastball there swung on, just gets by Hirasawa. And that'll be scored as an error most likely. So reaching base is Zach Wilson. That'll bring up one of the brothers, Robbie Perkins, catcher for the Cavalry.
Cole Mentor, very athletic pitcher on the mound. He is very good at holding runners, and he is quick to the plate, so it will be tough to steal on him today.
So a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and so far he's looking quite zoned in on that outside part of the plate. Getting hit early against the catcher, Robbie Perkins.
Yeah, he's locating his fastball beautifully, getting ahead like you mentioned, Sam, and he will look to go to his changeup as his out pitch for the swing and miss strikeout when he gets ahead in the count.
So Robbie Perkins, one of the veterans of this Canberra Cavalry lineup. 0-2 is the count to the ex-major leaguer. He'll hold back on that fastball just up out of the zone.
Yeah, when you're ahead 0-2 in the count, you can afford a waste pitch there, and just changing the eye level, keeping the hitters honest with that fastball up and out of the zone.
So the count is 1-2. Cole Mentor comes set. Perkins at the plate. Swinging at that fastball, popped up to center field. Clark is under it. And he'll make that easily for the 3rd out of the inning. So scoreless go the Canberra Cavalry through the 1st inning.
Like we mentioned, a bit of a different look to this Tuatara defense with Zach Clark making that play in center field, with Eric Jenkins getting a bit of a rest and just DHing in this lineup today. It's not quite as good of an outfield today with Zoo in right field, but probably a very strong hitting lineup, keeping the hot Zoo on the field.
Yeah, exactly. We have seen the outfield for the Tuatara so far have been absolutely outstanding, and we'll see if they can continue that good work as we will join you briefly after this short ad break.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the bottom of the 1st inning here for the 4th game of the series between the Auckland Tuatara and the Canberra Cavalry. So on the mound, you can see starting pitcher Jason Lott for the Cavalry facing superstar Eric Jenkins for the Auckland side.
Yeah, he did actually flash a little bit of power yesterday, hitting one over the right field fence. So good to see, because he has mostly been using his speed to do the damage.
So Jenkins rolls over that one to second baseman Kingham, who makes the throw in time to get the speedy Jenkins for the first out of the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, Jason Lott, the first right-handed pitcher we've seen on the mound for the Cavalry in the starting role. So pretty interesting that they do have 3 lefties to roll out. But with the right-hander Lott out there, they have kept with Zoo in left field as opposed to the hot-hitting Andrew Mark.
Yeah, certainly Zhu so far in his appearances has looked very good against right-handed hitters, has struggled a little bit against the lefties on the mound so far. Not quite facing the breaking balls that the lefties can deliver as well as he's looked against the righties. At plate now, you can see Daniel Lamb Hunt, the third baseman. Swinging through that nasty breaking ball is Lamb Hunt. So, if you don't know him, Jason Lott is a newcomer on this Canberra Cavalry lineup. This is his first season of ABL action. For the 23-year-old, he has had appearances in 2 games so far, thrown 4 innings, only giving up 1 run with 3 strikeouts. So, not quite the veteran arm as Lamb Hunt hits that hard to the shortstop Massey, and that'll be an easy out for out number 2 of the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, the Cavalry pitching has been the key to their success, so Lott will look to carry that on for Canberra today. Bit of a change with Boss Monarola, looks like he's sitting, and we've got Zach Wilson out at first. Boss, bit of a tough start to the season. He has been scuffling, so they've maybe decided to give him a mental day off today, Sam.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't looked like the player he has in previous ABL seasons, struggling against some of the very good pitching we've seen on the side of the Tuatara, as that fastball is taken for a strike for Max Brown, the right fielder.
Yeah, Max, he didn't quite get the results he was after yesterday, but he actually looked a lot better at the plate, working the count, got into a few 8, 9, 10 pitch at-bats even, so bit of a change as he has been striking out early in the count, but as I say that, he does fall behind, but he was able to battle with 2 strikes and foul tough pitches off yesterday, so he'll look to carry that on today, Sam.
Yeah, Max Brown not showing the class that people who have seen him play previously know he has within him. Only hitting a $158 in average so far. Did hit that hard line drive over the left field fence last weekend for a home run. So he's got a bit of power, he's got some speed, but possibly a bit of plate discipline, and seeing more pitches might be the answer to the struggle that Max Brown has started this season with.
I think this is the type of pitcher that does suit the Tuatara lineup a bit more. Jason Lott doesn't quite have the velocity and stuff of the first 3 starters the Cavalry brought out.
And he swings at that ball, possibly just out of the zone there. So 2-2 goes the count.
And just carrying on his approach from yesterday, Sam, he is fouling off those tough pitches and being a tough out here in the bottom of the first.
So that ball hit softly to the shortstop Kingham, who'll flip it across to Wilson, and Max Brown. His woes at the plate continue a little bit there, and the Tuatara lineup dealt with in short order in the bottom of the first inning. So we'll go to the top of the second here at McLeod Park.
As long as Max keeps playing stellar defense out in left field, I don't think he'll have to worry too much about his place in the starting lineup, as he has been tracking balls down there in the first few series.
So impressive so far in his first start on the mound for the Cavalry. In that first inning, Jason Lott, he looked like he was throwing a nice little changeup that he fooled Eric Jenkins on a little bit in his first at-bat. And so we'll see if that can continue when we get to the bottom of the second inning. But for the moment, we'll see Josh Colementer, the 7-year veteran of the MLB, continuing for the Auckland Tuatara.
Colementer, he not only was just a major leaguer, he was a very successful major leaguer, Sam, as you mentioned, playing 7 seasons with ERAs in the 3s as a starting pitcher is excellent stuff. He did finish 5th in Rookie of the Year voting as well. And he just like me to correct that he is from Homer, Michigan, not Missouri, as I was wrongly informed at the start of last weekend's game. But the story is true that he did come up with a funky action. Being from a small town, he said he threw tomahawks at trees and even snakes, but maybe we'll keep that quiet in this day and age with the veganism movement rising strong.
Indeed, Commenter's action may look funky, but it has served him very well. Looking to make a return to the major leagues, possibly the first stepping stone in that journey with the Tuatara here. So he'll face the right-handed Cam Warner, third baseman for the Cavalry lineup. Cam Warner off to an okay start to a season so far, hitting 207 as he grounds that one between third and second base. Hit hard between Lam Hunt and Hirasawa, so that'll record a hit and a runner on base here in the top of the second inning for the Cavalry.
Of course, any ball hit on the ground is more likely to go for a hit than a ball in the air, but of course the ball in the air can often result in extra bases. But with Commenter's pitching style, he is going to get a lot of ground balls, and he's going to need a little bit of luck on his side to hit the field with those grounders, a couple of them sneaking through for the Cavalry so far.
So that will bring up the third baseman, Cam Warner, for the Canberra side. Falling behind here is Commenter. So far, possibly Cam Warner. Does he have any wheels on him? Should we be looking to see him steal a base?
He is a pretty athletic player, but like I said, Commenter very quick to the plate and varying his looks to home very nicely. So it'll be tough to steal on him. He doesn't look like he has the strongest arm at the dish, but he does get rid of the ball quickly. So we'll see if Warner is tempted here.
Swinging at that fastball, popped, going over is Richards, but that'll be out of play for the second strike of the at-bat.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many people try steal on Way so far. His throwdowns in the warm-ups in between innings don't look the strongest, but we're not sure if he's just playing possum or he's just holding something back. So it'll be interesting to see the Cavalry test his arm.
Ahead in the count here is Commenter. He'll be looking to get a ground ball, possibly for a double play, as indeed that's stolen base, not quite Way's arm in time. So Luke Hansen getting the tag out there, and caught going is Cam Warner.
A great pitch to throw a runner out on with a fastball up in the zone. That's a pitch you can catch out in front and get a nice throw off on. And it looked like he might have been playing possum, as he's been bouncing his throws in between innings. But that one, a strike right over the bag to Hansen.
Yeah, it seems like he turned it on there. Definitely, Perkins looked well on his way to second base, but the arm of Way too much for the Australian, as that one is fouled off. So the first out recorded at second base.
Commenter with a nice slide step there with a runner on. Of course, as you can see, when no one is on, he does have a higher leg kick. You can be a bit more deliberate delivering the ball to home plate.
3-2 the count. That one turned on and soft grounder to third baseman Lam Hunt, and he'll easily get Perkins out at first base. So 2 outs now in the top of the second inning. That'll bring Logan Kingham, the second baseman, up to the plate.
Commenter off to a great start, working right to his pitching plan of living down in the zone with that sinking two-seam movement on his fastball. He's got 4 ground balls already. A couple of them have snuck through, a little unluckily for him, but he's doing a great job here, Sam.
And that one is popped up into center field. Coming to get it is Clark, and he'll be easily underneath for the third out of the inning. So a clean inning there, even though the leadoff man got aboard. Tuatara will be happy with that. So scoreless so far through the top of the second inning. We'll join you again shortly after this short ad break, ladies and gentlemen.
Transform your garden with the Makita 18-volt X2 LXC brushless multifunction power head, with a wide range of attachments to tackle the toughest jobs. using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
Kia ora, folks, and welcome back to action here at McLeod Park for the third game of the series between the Auckland Tuatara and Canberra Cavalry. My name is Sam Harvey. With me in the booth, the Grinch that stole baseball, Jun Kim. And what a fantastic day we have. If you're in the Auckland region, still plenty of baseball to come here today. We have a promotion going on today. If you're a registered junior baseball player and you turn up in your uniform, you'll get them for free. So wherever you are, it's a beautiful day. Plenty of baseball to come. Come on down to McLeod Park here in West Auckland at Te Aratu. We look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, we've seen a few young ball players taking advantage of that promotion. Seen quite a few Hawks and Bayside jerseys and North Shore City baseball jerseys floating around the outfield today.
And certainly there's nowhere else you'd rather be if you're a baseball fan. Some very high quality baseball being played here today. So at the plate you will see the man who can seemingly do everything. Chris Richards, the Renaissance man, takes ball number 2, a breaking ball, low and out of the zone.
He has been one of the hitters that has been willing to work the count on this Tuatara lineup.
And he grounds that one to shortstop. That's deep in the hole. And not quite in time as the shortstop Massey fumbles in the transfer. So aboard is Richards for the leadoff base runner. He'll be very happy with that, continuing his hot start to the season, of course, with the walk-off home run to end the first game yesterday.
Richards, a very patient hitter at the plate, doing another great job. He got to a 2-0 count. Yesterday, he actually got a couple hits on a 2-strike count, which was great to see from Richards. And Zach Clark, a hot hitting yesterday, up at the plate to look to do some damage here, Sam.
So, of course, the center fielder, Zach Clark, Mr. Sunshine. He's brought the sunshine with him today. Absolutely beautiful here at McLeod Park. He takes ball 1, and coming set is Lott. Delivers that fastball, grounding to the third baseman. He'll throw it in time to get Richards out at second base. Warner with the good transfer on that ground ball, but wasn't quite in time to get the speedy Clark going to first base, so there'll only be 1 out recorded and a fielder's choice there. So 1 out in the bottom of the second inning.
Yeah, very hard to double up Zach Clark, who hustles straight out the box and has good wheels. It looks like a bit of a discussion there with the umpire. Maybe Richards got called safe on that play, Sam, I think.
Pardon me there, ladies and gentlemen. It did look out from where we were sitting, and possibly the Canberra coach agrees with us. You know, it does look as if he was called safe, and the umpire is having a wee discussion to see what the result will be.
To be honest with you, it looked like he did get him by half a step, but Chris Richards showing why you should always hustle on every ground ball, and he took a hard slide in, and I mean, looked like Warren Van Rooyen did call him safe at second there, so big opportunity for the Tuatara to get a nice lead early in this game.
Yeah, so the Canberra coaching staff aren't happy with that, but the umpires have already had their discussion, and so the call will remain. So it looks like there'll be base runners at first and second here. A very good opportunity early in the game.
Yeah, not often you see a judgment call reversed like that on the bases, so the Cavalry are going to have to live with this. But the manager, he's not happy at local chief of umpires, Warren Van Rooyen here, they're in a very animated discussion, as you can see on screen. But he won't want to get tossed out the game in the second inning, I don't think.
Especially not this early, but he's not going to jog off the field either. Taking his time, going back to the third base dugout. And to be fair, I don't blame him. That one did look like it was out, but hard to see from where we are over here, especially no replay reviews in the ABL, of course. That'll bring up the hot-hitting Yu-Yan Zhu, left fielder today for the Tuatara.
The Tuatara management haven't been afraid to put the sack bunt down, but with Zhu hitting so well at the plate, I don't think it'd be a good idea to put that play onto there.
And
indeed, they do go with it again, Sam. They do love the sack bunt.
Yeah, but a little bit more than we do here in the booth. Possibly some old school baseball being played. Although, if you do look at the numbers, with none out, runners on first and second, and a hitter so hot as you, this possibly the only situation you might want to bunt, but so early in the game, you're not a fan.
No, runners on first and second, none out is the one time maybe statistically the bunt is all right, but with Zoo hitting so well early in the game, you know, I'm just not a fan of the sack bunt, Sam. But, you know, if they are going to bunt, this is the time I would agree with it. So.
But with the hot-hitting Zhu against the righty in lot, yeah, not too sure about this one. And he will swing at that one there, so it looks like the bunt will be taken off. And especially now with 2 strikes, you won't see the Tuatara going back to that. So 1-2 the count now.
Especially in this modern day, Sam, when you don't practice the sack bunt as much as you would in the past, it is a bit tough for hitters like Zoo, who probably hits in the heart of the lineup that don't often get the bunt put on them. It's a bit tough to get thrown in that deep end and get asked to do something you don't normally do.
So for the viewers at home, I suppose, as that breaking ball is fouled off, weighted back nicely there by Zhu. For the viewers at home, I suppose what the bunt does is, indeed, if you do make a good bunt, you're almost guaranteed to move the runners, although you are giving up that out. And what that does is it sort of takes away the opportunity for a big inning, you know, giving up that extra out when with the possibility of a hit and not an out there. You don't generally see the runs piled on with the bunt as you would if you let them swing away.
Of course, in this situation, getting that runner from second into third base with less than 2 out, and of course then you get the advantage of moving the runner at first into scoring position as well. That is the one advantage of bunting with runners on first and second with none out. But with Zoo a lefty,
and that one is ripped hard down the third base line. That'll be in fair territory. Not able to get it is Warner, and that'll advance all the base runners. So bases loaded now. A great opportunity for the Auckland Tuatara here in the bottom of the second inning. That'll bring up Luke Hansen, playing second base, locally born and bred at the Howick Pakuranga Baseball Club. This is a big opportunity for the young righty.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. And I was just about to mention Zoo. He doesn't strike out much, so that's why I wasn't too much of a fan of him bunting. And he did put a good opposite field stroke on that, as he has been doing all weekend.
Exactly.
And now, like you said, big chance to get a crooked number on the board without having given up that out.
Exactly. It's especially in such a short season, it's hard to see the numbers really pan out. But anyway, you know our view on it here in the booth. Bases loaded for Luke Hansen. He takes the first ball and he's swinging at that fastball on the outside part of the plate a little bit late. Evens the count 1-1.
He has been scuffling a little bit on the offensive side of the ball the last few games, so he'll be looking to break out of a small slump that he's found himself in. He does have a good power stroke to right center field, so that's where he'll be looking.
And he does get hit, and that'll bring in the first run for the Tuatara. They'll be happy enough with that. So 1 run scores. No out so far with bases loaded, and this is looking a wee bit dangerous for the rookie right-hander Lot.
Yeah, he doesn't have the strikeout stuff of the other Cavalry starters we've seen, so this is a good opportunity for the Tuatara to get a nice lead with a great starter in Cole Mentor up at the plate, up on the mound for the Tuatara. Luke Hansen, he'll be pretty pleased with that at bat. That's an RBI in the books and keeps the line moving.
And that'll bring up Kyo Chun Wei, the catcher for the Auckland side. Looks like the pitching coach for the Cavalry having a quick talk to his young righty. So far, he's been missing a little bit sort of outside, a little bit up in the zone so far has been Jason Lott. Obviously, a big day for the young number 44, his first start of his ABL career, so it's only natural there may be a little bit of nerves riding on the back of this start. But nonetheless, he'll have to knuckle down and get a few outs here in the bottom of the second inning with bases loaded.
Way up here, he has been looking to go opposite field. He does have an opposite field stroke, and he'll be looking at putting maybe a fly ball into the outfield to anything slightly regulation depth, I think Zach Clark with his speed at third is going to be able to score.
And Lott's going to want to keep that ball low in the zone, try to coax the way into a double play here. Not the quickest is Way, so definitely a candidate for that double play. We'll see what happens as he takes the first strike there low in the zone. Holding back on the breaking ball, a good take there by Way.
Yeah, corners in here for the Cavalry, so if the ball does get hit on the ground to first and third, they will be looking to turn a double play through the catcher. The middle infield is playing back, so they're looking at giving up the run to get the 2 outs if the ball does get hit to second base or shortstop.
Yeah, big moment here early on in the game. Takes a pitch up and in. 2-1 is the count. So whatever happens here could set the tone for the rest of the game. Lott's going to try to knuckle down, get a double play. Way is going to try to prevent that from happening. Hit the ball hard somewhere. And he does indeed. That one's ripped over the third baseman's head, and that'll score at least one. Coming round will score 2 now, and that was a single into left field. So Way gets a couple RBIs there. And the Tuatara score 2. So the score now 3-0 with none out. They'll want to continue the hot streak that they've started off this game with.
Huge hit by Way there, getting a nice 3-run lead, and still none out with 2 runners on, so Lott is still not out of trouble.
Yeah, this is something that we haven't really seen the Tuatara be able to string together. They've scored in little bursts, 1 run, 2 runs here and there, but the first time, I think they've scored 3 runs in an inning so far in their early ABL career. So it looks like Tiger Hirasawa is turning around, and he'll pop that bunt up. So
I don't want to keep harping on about the sack bunt, Sam, but
we may not comment on that one too much there. Hirasawa, of course, has struggled. He's still searching for his first hit, so
he doesn't have power at the plate to drive in extra bases. So that is maybe why they did put the bunt on, but it's not a guarantee you do move the runners, even if you sacrifice there. But with Hirasawa, the 9-hole hitter up, I can understand the Tuatara management's decision.
Yeah, so even though the result there was definitely much worse than when we saw Zhu turn around to bunt, certainly probably a better situation to bunt than when we saw the lefty Zhu at the plate.
Yeah, definitely, Sam, but Zhu actually hit his way on. He didn't bunt his way on anyway, so we won't talk about the sack bunt anymore. Hopefully they don't go to it too much
So that one's ripped hard down the first base line, and foul is the call from first base umpire Ryan Harder. Just foul. If we would play the replay for you there, if we could. But that one was pretty close, but having a good eye on it is Ryan Harder there, the first base umpire. So Eric Jenkins will be sent back to the plate. A good opportunity for the lefty to continue his success he's had so far.
I think that was the right call by first base umpire Ryan Harder. Tuatara capitalizing on maybe a fortunate call they got earlier on in the inning with that play at second base.
So 1-1 is the count as Lott comes set against the quick lefty Jenkins.
Lott, without the swing and miss stuff, is playing into this Tuatara lineup's hands, as they have been swing and missing quite a bit throughout the opening few series, but they are able to put the ball in play with Lott. He doesn't quite have that stuff that the likes of Imanaga and Kent were showing earlier in the series for the Cavalry.
So Lott finding himself in trouble once again as he falls behind 3-1 to Jenkins, who has a very good eye indeed. Won't be giving any strikes away for free here. And he swings at that fastball on the inside part of the plate, fouled off over the third base dugout. So 3-2 is the count. Big moment here for the rookie right-hander on the mound.
Wind once again blowing straight out to right field, as does seem to be the theme at McLeod Park. We have seen a lot of home runs come over this right field fence.
Yeah, especially yesterday as Jenkins swings and fouls another one off there. 3 home runs hit over the right field fence yesterday.
Yes, Sam. Jenkins was one of those hitters as well, and he displayed a little bit of power, driving one well over the right field fence, which is our vantage point today.
So 3-2, count full here. Big moment as Lot comes set. Delivers a fastball, and that one is popped up just over the second baseman's head. Going back is Kingham. High sun, but he's able to cope with it. So number 6 for the Cavalry catches the second out. And very important out there for Lot as he tries to limit the damage here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, huge out there to get out of a bit of a jam. Hopefully, for the Cavalry's sake, he can do another good job with Lamb Hunt, who got off to a great start against Perth and Brisbane. He had a bit of a quiet day at the plate yesterday, but he has been one of the RBI machines for this Tuatara lineup, so no concerns with him at the plate. He's the guy you want to see with runners on first and second from the Tuatara point of view.
A lot of experience in the righty, 15 coming up to the plate. And indeed, there will be a pitching change. So a tough start to his starting pitching debut for Jason Lott, number 44. He'll be taken out after only 1 2/3 innings of work. Not quite the caliber of pitching we saw earlier this weekend from the Cavalry, but that'll bring up number 51, who we have seen this weekend do some good work. So it will be Yuki Kuniyoshi, the tall Japanese righty for the Cavalry.
Yeah, he does have very good life on his fastball, so slightly different look from the Cavalry pitching staff here with Kuniyoshi coming up. Very tall, as you mentioned, and he does stay over that back leg and stay tall through his pitching motion using that height. Bit untypical of Japanese pitchers that we've seen for the Tuatara and Cavalry so far this series. Using to use his height and pitch downhill.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining the broadcast, my name is Sam Harvey. With me in the booth is the Grinch that stole baseball, Jun Kim. Certainly not happy with some of the bunts that we've seen the Tuatara put on so far. But we won't talk about that anymore. What we will talk about is the beautiful weather we have here in West Auckland, and it's an absolute stunner. Probably the best day for baseball we've had so far in the 2 opening series. So plenty of baseball yet to come, and it's a good start for the Auckland Tuatara in today's game. So wherever you are in Auckland, there's plenty of time to come on down to the park. As we said earlier, if you are a registered junior baseball player and you're in uniform, you get in the park for free. So bring mum and dad along. You'll get in for free. If you're watching the broadcast, try to pull their leg and come join us here at McLeod Park.
Yeah, great day for baseball, Sam, like you said. We didn't quite catch it on our broadcast today, but Nathan McCullum, I believe, threw out the first pitch for the ceremonial start to the game. And
hold on, Nathan McCullum. I'd heard he was dead as of last night.
There was a nasty rumor floating around that he had indeed passed away. He got a lot of posts on his Instagram and social media, but no, he is alive and kicking. We have seen him in person, and I think his brother Brendan wasn't too impressed, and he said he was actually going to find the person who started that rumor and maybe give him a piece of his mind.
So I'm not entirely sure whether I'd want to be the person who did start that rumor, and Brendan McCullum, not the kind of guy I'd want to have angry at me, searching me out, but indeed Nathan McCullum rising from the dead to throw out the first pitch here on the Sunday game at McLeod Park.
And he did throw a nice heater over the heart of the plate.
So Nathan McCullum, possibly in another life, you could see him playing for this Tuatara lineup, but it's not to be. So Daniel Lamb Hunt, third baseman for the Auckland side, at the plate with runners on first and second. And throwing over to first is catcher Perkins, not in time.
He does show a good arm there, but Wade not drifting too far off first bag and is able to get back in standing.
Yeah, certainly a good tool to have in the catcher's arsenal. Quite often with runners on first and second, the first base runner can be seen to be napping a little bit. The urgency not quite so much as when they're being held on at first base, but way back in time as Lamb Hunt takes that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate. Count moves to 2 balls and no strikes.
having the advantage in this count is Lam Hunt. He will be looking to go extra bases here, drive that runner in from first with a double.
And he certainly can do that. We've already seen him hit an absolute mammoth of a home run last weekend. With 3 balls here, you got to imagine that he's got the green light.
Yeah, I think so, Sam. He is probably the most dangerous hitter in this Tuatara lineup, but the Tuatara hitters have been doing a much better job laying off those borderline pitches today, Sam.
Yeah, in the earlier games, especially last weekend, they've been quite free swinging, and a lot of strikeouts recorded so far as he takes that good fastball on the outside part of the plate. Free swinging, lots of strikeouts recorded so far, and we've seen them make a good adjustment, possibly a little bit easier to be taking these borderline pitches against the likes of Lott compared to sort of Imanaga, who we saw on the mound yesterday.
Oh, Imanaga, he's been dominant pitcher even in Nippon Professional Baseball, which is the second best baseball league in the world after the major leagues. And even Steve Kent, a 10-year veteran of the Australian setup, it would be tough to lay off those borderline pitches against the likes of those cavalry pitches, but they are taking advantage of maybe slightly weaker pitching. Of course, in Game 4, that is natural.
Indeed, indeed. But it doesn't seem to be the case for Auckland, who have the ex-major leaguer commenter on the mound. So you just saw there, Lam Hunt taking the 4th ball of the at-bat. Bases loaded now for Max Brown as he looks to really get started in his ABL career for the Tuatara. Struggling so far at the plate. He'll be looking to do some damage with 2 outs in the bottom of the 2nd.
Still early in the season, so with that small sample size, tough to be too critical. He is one of the most talented players in this lineup, so he will be looking to get that monkey off the back and get a big hit here.
Tough start to his relief appearance. Inheriting runners at 1st and 2nd was Yuki Kuniyoshi. And he starts off with a ball against Brown, who does come around on the breaking ball, so 1-1, the count evened up.
Brown probably expecting a fastball there with Kuniyoshi struggling with his command, but he does go with the breaking ball while behind in the count.
Something we've seen quite often from the number of Japanese pitchers we've seen so far. They're quite apt to pitch backwards, start off the at-bat with something slower, start with a breaking ball. As he gets ahead 1-2 to Max Brown. Brown, talking to home plate umpire Tom West, possibly thought that one was a little bit possibly high and out of the zone, but indeed it was called a strike, so 1-2 the count with bases loaded. And it looks as if Kuniyoshi will go for the breaking ball here. 1-2 the count. Time is called. Brown just taking a little bit of time, resetting himself. He has looked a little bit rushed at the plate, so a good move from the veteran tall right-hander.
Of course, with runners on, the pitcher taking a little bit longer to deliver the ball, and it is hard to concentrate for a long time at the plate, so just wise of Brown to step out the box there.
Big moment. And takes that inside pitch. Count evened up now, 2-2.
Good two-seam movement on that fastball from Kuniyoshi. Brown has seen all his offerings now, so he will be looking to get a bit of bat on ball with 2 strikes and make use of those wheels.
Come set is Kuniyoshi. Delivers the fastball, which is fouled off by Max Brown. We've given him the nickname Bambi on Ice for the way he runs. We haven't seen it too much so far, having not been on base too much, but indeed, when you see him run, you'll know what we're talking about.
And that's a slight backhanded compliment, not just a insult there. Bambi, deers are very fast, and Bambi, of course, being a baby deer, a doe.
2-2 the count now. And that one gets away from catcher Perkins, and that'll be not in time. He flips the ball to Kuniyoshi. And another run scored for the Tuatara on what will be recorded as a wild pitch, most likely. Kyo Chun Wei or Luke Hansen. We'll get the update there for you. The scores the run from third base. That was indeed Luke, possibly even Yuyan Zhu there, scoring the run at home plate, getting a good read on that ball that got away from catcher Perkins.
So I think our scoreboard has updated. I think it was Hansen scoring from third there. He got a great read on the ball in the dirt and got in there.
So 3-2 swinging is Brown. That one's in the dirt. Perkins will throw over to first in time for the third out of the inning, but not before the Auckland Tuatara score 4 runs in the bottom of the second inning. Getting ahead here early is the home side. So we'll go to the top of the third inning as Canberra try to battle their way back.
First crooked number the Tuatara have put on the board with 4 runs scoring. And they're going to be feeling pretty comfortable with Commenter dominating on the mound so far this afternoon. As we see a bit of on-field entertainment here with a rolling tire race with the Tuatara mascot egging them on. Pretty good crowd developing at McLeod Park today with the first good day of weather on a weekend day for the Tuatara so far. And what a great chance to see a Major League veteran on the mound here in Josh Commenter. For the Cavalry, we will have Middleton, Aoyagi, and Massey coming up to bat. 8-9-1 for the Canberra side. Commenter so far, he has been working his fastball low in the zone, getting 4 ground ball outs, including a punch out. Just 2 hits on those aforementioned ground balls, but he hasn't given up a free pass, which is his game plan. He has very good control and doesn't give up those free passes very often. Commenter looking to get back in the major leagues. He's out in Down Under in New Zealand, looking to get a bit of conditioning in and try to get picked up by a Major League Baseball team once again. And he starts off with strike 1 up in the zone.
Commenter continuing here for the Tuatara, getting ahead early against number 36, Jack Middleton, the DH for the Cavalry. Swinging over that fastball in the upper part of the zone, getting ahead 0-2. And he gets him on an outside fastball. 1 out recorded in the top of the third inning.
Being very efficient there with a 3-pitch strikeout. Perfect batter. And he has thrown just 28 pitches so far this afternoon.
At the plate now, you see Koki Aoyagi taking a fastball in and up. Something that we were talking about earlier before the broadcast began was the work ethic of Josh Commenter. As that breaking ball just misses low, so 2 balls now to Aoyagi. Commenter, one of the hardest working players on the Tuatara lineup, despite being the most accomplished.
That's right, Sam. You'd think of any of the Tuatara roster to rest on their laurels would be someone who has reached the pinnacle of the sport like Josh Commenter, but word is that he is one of the first players to get to the field every day for practice, getting there very early, getting his conditioning, his running, and his band work in. The unglamorous side of pitching in the major leagues of baseball, but setting a really good example for this young Tuatara pitching stuff.
And we are just so lucky to have him here in the inaugural season at McLeod Park, setting a very good example for our younger players, both on the roster and the fans in the stands. A fastball taken high, so 3-2 goes the count. Commenter looking to finish off. Number 9 hitter, Aoyagi, who fouls another one over the first base dugout. Sticking around for a little while, says Aoyagi.
He'll be looking to go right after Aoyagi here. You don't want to give the 9-hole hitter a free pass. He does have good speed on the bases as well.
3-2 pitch. Swinging through that changeup is Aoyagi. Looks like he just got a little bit of that, so that'll be counted as a foul ball.
Commenter, good faith in that changeup, of course, going with it in a full count.
Yeah, it seems like he can throw that changeup at will for a strike. Just one of the tools that gave him so much success, as that one is lined into right field. Coming over to get it is Max Brown. So 2 outs now in the top of the 3rd inning.
Max showing great range in the outfield, as always. Getting great jumps on the ball and tracking that down easily in left field.
As we said earlier, the outfield not quite at its full strength, with Eric Jenkins in the DH position today and Zhu in left field. We haven't seen him here in Auckland playing the outfield just yet, as number 25, Craig Massey, turns around, possibly looking to bunt there. It will be a called strike. We haven't seen Zhu in the outfield so far, so we'll see if that makes a difference for the Tuatara as Massey comes around on that pitch.
He hasn't been playing much defense so far in the early part of the season, often DHing. He did look a little bit shaky at first base, maybe dropping a few routine plays. And I think the outfield is where he is most comfortable, so Tuatara management looking to ease him back in left field, where he is very happy to be. But of course, with that hot hitting bat, no way they were going to leave him out of the lineup today.
1-2 is the count to Massey, as he takes that one off the elbow, and he'll make his way down to first base with the free pass. Commenter a little bit frustrated. He let that one get away from him, and the free pass given to Craig Massey. So 2 outs now and a runner on first base.
Yeah, a bit of a scary pitch for Massey there. He did get the bat started and looked like it got him on the hand, which isn't a very good place to get hit, of course, with a lot of fragile bones in there. But Commenter definitely not intentionally hitting him there with a 1-2 count.
David Candelas, the batter at the plate, center fielder. Takes a ball up out of the zone. So, so far, Commenter looking pretty good going once through the Canberra lineup. What sort of adjustments does the Cavalry need to make in order to have success against the big righty?
There's not much you can do when a starting pitcher of this caliber is executing his pitches. So when he does make a small mistake and leaves that fastball up in the zone, they will have to look to punish it. But he is living down in the zone with that two-seam movement and working his changeup off that same slot. So it's going to be tough if he lives at the knees. But when he does make a mistake up, that's when they will have to look to do their damage.
Commenter just having a quick look over at Massey at first base, keeping him close to the base. He does take off, and throwing over to second base is Way, not in time. Massey will be safe at second. Hirasawa doing well to cover that ball that got past Hansen at second base. So a stolen base will be given to Craig Massey. A very important stolen base, moving himself over to scoring position with 2 outs.
Staying out of that double play, of course, getting to second. A tough pitch to throw to second on that pitch, just out of the dirt for Way.
So that the 4th stolen base of the season for Craig Massey. He's got some wheels on him. One of the veterans of the Cavalry lineup. And ball 4 issued. 4 balls in a row. So Commenter will look to shake that one off. The veteran won't be too phased by giving that up there. So we'll see if he can indeed make the adjustment, as Zach Wilson, one of the top hitters for the Canberra side, comes to the plate.
Just gathering his thoughts there, maybe just a momentary lapse in concentration after losing Massey with that hit by pitch while he was up in the count 1-2.
1-2 is the count to Massey. 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 1-2 is Zach Wilson so far this season has hit 2 home runs with 5 RBIs, hitting an average so far of .341, one of the most dangerous hitters in the league. Swings hard at that one, gets hit to Lamb Hunt. He'll scurry over to third base for the 3rd out of the inning. So that ball hit pretty hard, but Lamb Hunt able to keep it under control. So Colementer able to keep the Cavalry scoreless through 3 innings. We'll be right back with you after a short ad break.
Oh, what a hit! Oh, that looks serious. Oh, she's not happy. It's a long road back. Powerade Ion 4 replaces 4 electrolytes lost in sweat to drive today's athletes forward. Adams inside. Pasco coming back strong. What a comeback. What a champion.
Yuki Kuniyoshi will continue for the Canberra Cavalry. Coming in for relief after only 1 2/3 innings of work for the right-handed starter, Jason Lott, who struggled through his time on the mound. It was indeed his first start for the Cavalry, and a tough introduction to ABL baseball as the Tuatara were able to capitalize, scoring 4 runs off the rookie righty. Kuniyoshi looking pretty good so far. Kuniyoshi coming in a couple times so far this season with a 4.5 ERA. The tall Japanese right-handed pitcher, number 51. Of course, one of the continuing stories in both this home series and in the Perth series is the absolutely dominating right-hander Kyle Gligowski, homegrown pitcher for the Tuatara. He has looked absolutely amazing in his first 3 starts, giving up his first run of his ABL career yesterday. Gave up 1 run, so his ERA climbing to about .6. And he looked pretty good yesterday as well, with his pace, as well as being able to locate his fastball very well, and an absolutely devastating breaking ball. Got the Cavalry hitters all tied up, earning the... he didn't quite earn the win. I think the game was tied when he was taken out of the game yesterday.
When your worst start, you've only given up a run. I think you're off to a pretty good start to the season. He's only given up 2 hits in, I think, nearly 15 innings, Sam.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous for a guy who's only been playing professional baseball for half a season, 1 season so far. At the plate now, the Renaissance man, Chris Richards. He's playing first base today. Of course, we know he can play all over the infield. And if he was asked, he'd probably play in the outfield as well. He'd catch, he'd make dinner for you. Whatever you want, Chris Richards is the man for you. Certainly having success so far in his ABL career. Brought back from the dead a little bit after playing some minor league baseball. He is the development officer for Wellington Baseball, and one of the key components to the success that we have seen so far for the Tuatara.
He's proved an absolute godsend for this Tuatara management. Like you said, playing all positions. They were looking to use him maybe a little bit out of the bullpen, but with how he's been hitting and playing on defense, I think that's kind of out of the question now. He's also a Guinness Book World Record holder, as mentioned yesterday, with the he was the thrower of the egg toss and catch.
That's right.
So he really can just do it all.
He can indeed. Ricky Pawai, the gentleman who you might have heard in the second broadcast yesterday in that rainout that was given in favor of the Cavalry, along with Chris Richards holding the world record as he takes that off-speed pitch. Low and out of the zone. A very good at-bat there by Chris Richards. We weren't talking about it as it was happening, but swung at some good pitches. But he hasn't really seemed to be offering at any of the balls out of the zone, doing a very good job of being patient at the plate.
That's right, Sam. He has been one of the Tuatara hitters that has been willing to work the count, as he showed there, because he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He even hit that home run yesterday with an 0-2 count. And Renaissance Man, he has in fact changed his Instagram name to Renaissance Rich 14, so he would like a follow there.
We'll see if we can up his follower count on Instagram for him there. He'll be happy with the shout out. So at the plate, you can see Mr. Sunshine, Zach Clark, the center fielder today. 1 ball is the count. Hits that one hard, just gets by the third baseman. That'll be recorded as a hit. He really hit a scorcher past Warner, in between Massey and Warner in the hot hole. So the Auckland side looking threatening again here in the bottom of the 3rd inning with runners on 1st and 2nd and no outs recorded.
He has been hitting the ball hard all season, and it's just good to see him get the results. A few of those balls sneaking through and dropping in. Lost in the last inning heroics of yesterday's game. Zach Clark actually got a really clutch RBI in the 6th inning to tie the ball game up and get the Tuatara in the position to walk off. So Zach, one of the key parts of this lineup. Good to see him staying hot.
At the plate now, you see Guyon Zhu, hot-hitting lefty for the Tuatara. Takes a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Shakes his head in disagreement with home plate umpire Tom West. The at-bat will continue with 1 strike. He's looked pretty good so far this season against right-handed pitching. Indeed has struggled a little bit against the lefties, as we said last time he came up to bat. Currently hitting .364. Already recording a hit today. He's got 4 RBIs to his name.
Hit that scorcher past third base in his first at-bat, sticking with his opposite field swing. He'll look to do the same with a 0-2 count.
Let's see what Kuniyoshi can do with an 0-2 count. Breaking ball just sort of hovered over the zone. Zhu doing a good job of fouling that one off. Probably not quite where Kuniyoshi wanted to throw that pitch.
No, you definitely don't want to hang your breaking ball in an 0-2 count. So he'll look to rectify that here with a few pitches he can play with.
What do you reckon Kuniyoshi goes here with? Possibly a bit of high cheese after that slow breaking ball?
Yeah, definitely can work out of that high slot after pitching that breaking ball. And he does go back to that. Pretty much go with any pitch here in an 0-2 count after he's shown Zhu what he's got. Changed eye levels.
Zhu looking pretty good so far. Not an easy strikeout candidate.
No, definitely not. He lets the ball travel deep, so he can identify when it's going to be out of the zone.
0-2 is the count. No outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Takes that fastball in the dirt. You see Chris Richards at 2nd base.
With that good sinking movement on his fastball, Kuniyoshi ideally will be looking to shoot that at the knees and try and get a ground ball from Zhu here to get a double play.
Kuniyoshi missing that ball in the dirt. Chris Richards making a good read, making his way over to 3rd base in time. So a great read there. The Renaissance man getting it done on the base paths as well. Is there anything this guy can't do?
Absolutely not, Sam. That was actually a pretty tough ball to get to 3rd on. Didn't skip too far away from the catcher, but he just got a great read on that ball. He took off for 3rd before it even hit the dirt. He just recognized that it was going to break into the dirt, got off running, and was able to beat the throw into 3rd.
You see Clark at first base not advancing either. That was, it's sort of hard to illustrate the difficulty that making that read, especially from 2nd base, where the angle of the pitch is harder to read. But a very good job there. Puts himself into a great position to score a run as that one is scorched through the second and shortstop. That'll score Richards, and Clark will make his way to third base. So Zhu just continues to be a hot hitter here at McLeod Park. The Auckland side going ahead 5-0 with runners on the corners with none out.
No one's going to worry about his few mistakes on defense if he keeps racking in those clutch hits like he just did there.
It just seems like that ball is looking a bit like a beach ball to him in these home series we've seen him play so far.
Absolutely, Sam. And with Clark, with good speed at first, easily able to go first and third on that ball to right field.
That'll bring up Luke Hansen, the second baseman. He'll be looking to get a little bit of success here. A great opportunity to score a run. He does get fooled by that breaking ball, swinging well over the top of it there, falling behind 0-1.
A good pitch by Kuniyoshi there, starting that on the outside corner and breaking it out of the zone. Hansen should be feeling a bit more comfortable after getting a hit-by-pitch RBI in the first at-bat of his day.
And he rips that one, just gets by the third baseman, Warner. That'll score Clark from third base. Having to scurry back is Zhu as left fielder Perkins darts that back into Massey, but that'll be an RBI and a hit for the local man, Luke Hansen. The Tuatara extend their lead 6-0, runners on first and second and none out.
Hansen, known as the machine for his automatic defense, coming through with the bat there. That does often seem to be his spray chart, the hard ground ball through that third base side, or when he does elevate, he does more go to right center, but that has been typical of Hansen so far this season, but he'll be very happy to get his first hit of the series.
And it looks as if Kuniyoshi will depart the mound. So a tough appearance there for the tall righty in his relief appearance. Only getting 2 outs. And that'll bring in number 7, Kyle Kinman, for the Canberra Cavalry.
As we have often mentioned, Hansen did just sneak onto the Tuatara roster. He almost didn't even get onto that preseason team in Brisbane, but snuck his way on after a good camp, and he's just hit his way onto the team. His defense is automatic, like we mentioned. That was never a concern, but he's shown a hot stick with the bat after a few good seasons in Adelaide. Did hit 5 home runs last year, including a few Grand Slams, actually. He won Player of the Week there in a very strong club ball league in South Australia.
The pitcher you see on the mound, Kyle Kinman, another rookie for the Canberra side. We've seen 3 1/3 innings of work so far from the righty. The left-hander. He's given up 5 hits and 2 runs with an ERA of 5.4 so far in this early part of the ABL season. Something I'd quickly like to talk about is how amazing these Tuatara uniforms are looking.
Oh, amazing, Sam. Whoever did the design for the logo should be given a pay rise. It's just outstanding. And the merch is looking fantastic.
Lots of fans around the park here making good of the merchandise stand at the entrance. You two watching at home can order yourself some of that. Go to theabl.com.au or visit thefieldhouse.com as well, or go into the Fieldhouse out there in East Auckland if you want to get yourself some of that. So Kinman now, that one gets away from him, gets away from the catcher Perkins, but the runners will remain at first and second.
Yeah, tough to get to third on a ball that gets away, that was pitched on the full. Obviously, you're not expecting that to get away from the catcher.
At the plate is Kyo Chun-wei, the catcher. Wei getting a hit earlier today in his first appearance, scoring a couple runs, I think it was.
Yeah, he drove that run in from second and third in his first at-bat with that hit to left field. So he'll be looking to do more of the same. Most of his hits, hard contact, has been through to the right side of the ballpark, but he was able to turn on that one in his first plate appearance today.
So that offering fouled off. The count will move to 2 balls and 1 strike. Way, it looks like he's feeling a little bit more confident at the plate. Struggled a little bit in some of his earlier appearances against Brisbane. Takes that breaking ball in the dirt. 3-1 is the count.
He did get his legs a bit of a rest yesterday with local player Taka Kaneko getting his first professional start behind the dish. Did a good job behind the plate. Didn't let any wild pitches get through.
A great example of just how important a catcher can be. Lots of balls in the dirt, but Tucker, as Way takes that pitch low. Oh, and it looks as if he's caught in a rundown here at second base, and a bit of a mistake there by, that'll be Zhu at second base. Not getting back to the base quick enough. And Canberra doing well to capitalize on the mistake by the left fielder for the Tuatara.
I think what happened there, he thought that might have been ball 4. Just wasn't quite aware of the count. Started taking a stroll to third base and got caught out there. Obviously, you just wait for the umpire to signal ball 4 before you get off the base. But Zhu maybe caught napping there after getting a clutch hit.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier, I think, on Friday about the sort of mindset you have to have at second base. One of the most important, as that fastball gets way on the outside part of the plate, he knew it. So Kimman doing well to spot up there, recording the second out of the inning. So possibly doing a good job of getting out of a bit of danger here. Brings up Hirasawa, the shortstop, to the plate.
Yeah, you got to know your situation at second there, Sam. That's a pretty rookie mistake by Zhu.
So you see Hansen at second base as Hirasawa takes a breaking ball outside.
Hansen always has his fundamentals in check, so we won't be looking at him to make any blunders like that on the bases.
Watch what you say there, Jun. There is a bit of a commentator's curse.
I have faith in number 3, the baseball machine. He does not make elementary errors, Sam.
Yeah, they don't call him the machine for nothing, do they? So swinging through that pitch is Hirasawa. 1-1 the count. Hirasawa looking for his first hit in the green uniform. Pulls out of that breaking ball. Almost looking as if that one was going to go for his head, but it wasn't to be. So 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. Doing a good job of hanging back on that off-speed pitch.
Kinman probably just got a couple more hitters left in him with Hirasawa, the lefty, at the plate right now, and Jenkins, another lefty, coming up to start the lineup.
With such a short series, only as that one is hit hard, gets past the second baseman, and coming round from second, in time, safe at home plate is Hansen. So Hansen scurrying around third base, able to make it home in time, scores the 7th run for the Tuatara. Hirasawa recording his first hit, most likely, in the green uniform. He'll be happy with that. Really scorched that one past second baseman Kingman. And that continues the damage and brings up Jenkins to the plate.
No chance for Kingham, the second baseman, to make a play on that ball. Hit very hard, and of course, with 2 out, not too much to think about for Hansen, breaking very quickly and scurrying home to put the 7th run on the board for the Tuatara.
So it was a strategic pitching change, bringing up Kingman, the lefty, against both Hirasawa and Jenkins, as the catcher throws that one past the first base, and that'll advance Hirasawa to second. He's running hard. He's trying to go for third, and he'll be there in plenty of time. That one getting past first baseman. That'll be an error recorded on Perkins. A pretty poor throw.
Generally, they would be looking to play the matchup with the lefty Kinman up, but now with a 7-run lead, they might just roll with him just to ride out the game.
Yeah, certainly so early in the ball game. Already onto their third pitcher are the Cavalry. They, if they go for too many changes, they could quickly run out of arms in that bullpen. Of course, in a 4-game series, possibly carrying a few less arms than you'd see in some other leagues, like the major leagues. Not necessarily needing so many guys waiting in that bullpen. 2-1 is the count. And Jenkins not happy with that one. Bit hard to say, but from our vantage point, possibly didn't look like he went around. But indeed, it will be recorded as a strike. Third base umpire Warren van Ruin saying, yes, indeed, he went around. Taking a fastball outside. 3-2 the count now to Jenkins.
See Jenkins choking up a little bit there. With his speed, of course, important to put the ball in play with 2 strikes.
And he takes that breaking ball over the heart of the plate. Jenkins will want that one back. A strikeout recorded for Kinman, but not before the 7th run recorded for the Tuatara. That's 3 runs in the inning, so the lead extended here at McLeod Park. 7 runs to nothing in favor of the home side through 3 innings. Very impressive so far have been the Tuatara hitters against a little bit weaker pitching, we might say, than we've seen so far this weekend.
Yeah, that's no slight on lot. Of course, the first 3 starters for the Cavalry were absolutely lights out, and probably include 2 of the best pitchers in the ABL, in Kent and Imanaga. Commenter here with a 7-run lead. He'll be feeling very comfortable. Key will be just to not give up any free passes, make the Cavalry earn their runs. It'll be very tough to hit 7 runs in, of course, if you're not giving up those walks. A bit of news in MLB baseball, Sam, in the off-season. I've heard that Robinson Cano and their closer, Edwin Diaz, might be looking to go to your favorite team, the Mets. I think that might be not signed on paper, but pretty much a done deal, I believe.
Yeah, the Mets will be happy with that one. Have had a very strong starting rotation, but definitely struggling in the hitting department. Cano hopefully going to do a little bit to change that for the less popular New York side.
Mets, of course, struggling to fill that second base spot after losing Daniel Murphy to the Washington Nationals. Cano does have a very big contract left, so the Mariners did chuck in Edwin Diaz, who's one of the best closers in the league. He got 57 saves last year, and so they did chuck him in to sweeten the deal and eat some of that big money that Cano is on.
Commenter will continue with Robbie Perkins, number 9, the catcher at the plate. He takes a fastball on the outside for ball 1. That one is hit to shortstop Hirasawa, who gets it over to first base in time. Perkins almost running that one out, but Hirasawa continues to show his class at shortstop. Any shortcomings we've seen for Hirasawa in his hitting, he certainly has made up with his defense. An absolute wall there at shortstop.
Of course, that is the number 1 priority of the shortstop, is to have his defense in order. He did get his first RBI hit off the board last inning as well. So he'll be looking a bit more comfortable in the Tuatara uniform.
At the plate now, you see Cam Warner, the third baseman, falling behind early against Commenter, 0-2. Not particularly a comfortable position you want to be in against the ex-major leaguer. Misses with a fastball outside there. Can throw pretty much whatever he wants in the spot.
Looked like a pretty good spot, but of course when the catcher's glove has to move from inside to outside, you don't often get that call.
Just missing a bit inside there. Tried to freeze him on that inside fastball. Wasn't to be. 2-2 goes the count.
Yeah, going with the changeup here after he's shown fastball in his first 4 pitches.
And he does a good job to hang back, just gets past Hirasawa, so a hit will be recorded for Cam Warner, doing a good job of staying back on that off-speed pitch and hitting it hard up the middle of the infield.
Yeah, that is the pitch to go after against Colementa when he does leave it up in the zone a bit. When he lives down in the zone and it sinks down and out of the strike zone below the knees, it's very tough to hit. But Colementa has been getting a lot of ground balls, so he'll be looking to do more of the same to get a double play and get out this inning.
Warner will be happy with that. His second hit of the day. Fastball missing outside to number 11, Kyle Perkins. The other set of the Perkins brothers playing left field today for the Canberra Cavalry. That fastball perfectly located on the outside part of the plate.
As you see, Colementa varying his times to home plate, holding the ball for quite a number of seconds there. Get the base runner in, Warner stuck in his feet at first. Cavalry 1 for 2, stealing off the battery of Colementa and Way so far on this sunny afternoon at McLeod.
And that one is hit hard into left field. Camping underneath it is Zhu. Going to be hard to get anything over that left field wall today with the crosswind blowing directly into right field. That one possibly looked a little bit harder off the bat than it ended up being. So the second out recorded under the safe hands of Zhu there in left field.
Yeah, it is deeper out to left field than to right, and the crosswind, as you mentioned, knocking that ball down. Zhu looking a lot more comfortable in the outfield as opposed to his misadventures at first base.
Yeah, if you were watching the first game yesterday, a couple plays where Zhu looked a little bit out of sorts at first base, not coming up with the catch on a couple balls that were a little bit low, thrown by, as that one is ripped foul. A couple balls thrown by his infielders, possibly a little bit low, but the kind of balls that you want your first baseman to come up with.
Definitely any ball that gets to you on the full at first base, you should be catching 100% of the time.
That's not to mention the one that he did miss on the full, but we won't dwell on that. With 2 outs here in the top of the fourth inning, and a fastball swung on and missed. Logan Kingham strikes out to Josh Colementa. So the Canberra Cavalry are kept scoreless through the top of the 4th inning. Not able to close that gap any. 7-0 is the score as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Looking pretty good for the Tuatara. We'll join you after this short ad break.
Hi, it's nice to be here to be able to report that Radio Sport's doing all the winning. We're doing all the winning on Sports Day, and look, we're doing all the winning on Art Day as well. It's an art attack. Christmas cracker style joke there.
This is the most blatant form of tagging I've ever seen in my life, and I'm really, really pleased that Radio Sport are behind it. Nothing like a bit of art, bringing a bit of culture to the wonderful world of sport. Radio Sport, more than just rugby balls, son.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching the broadcast from, whether it be Auckland, New Zealand, Australia, or wherever you are in the world, we welcome you once again to McLeod Park. My name is Sam Harvey. With me in the booth, Jun Kim, on a beautiful day out here in Te Aratu, West Auckland. A very good start for the home side, leading 7-0 currently. The bats have really lit up for the Tuatara so far, with Colementa lights out so far. And they'll look to continue that hot work as it looks to be Daniel Lamb-Hunt, the third baseman, to get things started in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, good for the blood pressure of this Tuatara coaching staff, Sam, getting a 7-run lead. They haven't had any comfortable victories so far, often squeaking them out, making trouble for themselves. It's nice for them to get a big lead, although it is still very early in the game.
Yeah, baseball, a game where you should never count your chickens before they hatch, as Lamb-Hunt comes around and just fails to stop himself from swinging. So fouls that one off. 1-1 goes the count. Plenty of baseball yet to be played. If you're close by to McLeod Park, we encourage you to come on down a great day for baseball with some fantastic refreshments around the park as Lamb Hunt hits that one into the third base dugout. A fantastic chicken burger we both had earlier. Some absolutely delicious food being served here at McLeod Park.
Yeah, Just Chicken it's called, a food truck that is here today at McLeod. The best food I think I've had so far at the ballpark. A great free-range grilled chicken thigh burger. It's not just a plug. I actually did pay my $10 for it, Sam.
Me as well. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it was worth it. So whether you're with us today or next weekend, come on down, grab yourself a burger and enjoy the baseball we're seeing as Lamb Hunt is able to hold up on that one. They ask Ryan Harder down at first base, did he swing? He did not. The count now moves to 3-2, full count to the leadoff hitter.
Little three-man umpiring crew today. No Josh Weschler, the young local product who did have a real good plate dishing at home plate yesterday in game one.
And Lamb Hunt takes that pitch on the outside, draws a walk. Another leadoff walk given up here by the Canberra Cavalry. Quickly talking about Josh Weschler, one of the keys of a good umpire is one that you don't notice. And yesterday, I don't think I noticed Josh once.
No, neither of the managers were complaining about balls and strikes yesterday. He had a great day behind the dish. As we've all come to expect, playing in Auckland, it's ABL. Great opportunity, not just for the players, but for the umpires and the grounds crew as well.
Kevin Napier, the leader, as Max Brown rips that one past the first baseman. Coming round is Lamb Hunt. He'll get to third base. He's turning third. He'll be sent home and held up at second. Max Brown will get a double. Another run on the board. Lamb Hunt scores from first base, turning on the speed. Max Brown will be very happy with that one there.
Oh, Max will be stoked with that to break that slight slump he's been in, finding that gap, ripping the ball hard down the third baseline. And as we've mentioned, Sam, Max, one of the nicest players that you'll come across.
Oh, look, the RBI couldn't be given to a nicer guy. So Bambi will take his lead out at second base with none out as Renaissance man Chris Richards. Bambi just getting back in time at second base as Kyle Kinman tries to pick him off, along with Massey, the shortstop.
Of course, with an 8-run lead, probably not looking to steal here. Go against the unwritten rules of baseball.
Yeah, something we haven't talked about so much so far is a lot of baseball etiquette, which fans who aren't quite so familiar with the game may not be so familiar with, particularly if you're up a lot of runs and maybe not so early in the game as we are now, but especially late in the game where it seems as if the game is a sure thing. And indeed, Max Brown does go for third base, and he's there in plenty of time. So as we're saying, so early in the game, you might still steal bases, but possibly if this was later in the game and the lead was slightly greater than 10 runs possibly, you won't see teams steal bases as often.
Of course, though, when the pitcher does try to pick you off, maybe it does give you a bit of license to swipe that bag at third when he's making you work, get back to the bag like that.
And Brown will be happy to add that one to his stats, a stolen base there as he gets to third base. He's got some wheels on him, despite how uncoordinated he looks in doing it. Bambi on ice, scuttling his way over to third base there. So 2-1 the count now. Chris Richards at the plate. Takes a fastball inside.
Of course, longtime Angels manager Mike Sosha, he always says, if you haven't won the game yet, you should be allowed to steal, so no matter how much you're up. So obviously always a bit of dispute there, but in the bottom of the fourth, not so important to follow those rules.
Richards fouling that one into his foot. We've said before, look, anything can happen in baseball, and so that's one of the arguments to say that, look, you know, if the game's not over, you should steal whenever possible. If you can take the base, why don't you? There will be a lot of managers who indeed disagree with that, And you can see managers get quite fired up at the opposing team if they do try to swipe that extra base when they're up by a number of runs. That breaking ball is swung on and missed by Richards. He'll scuttle his way over to first. The throw by Perkins in time, but the pitch getting away from the catcher will allow Max Brown to score from third base. The lead extended for the Tuatara, 9 runs to 0.
Of course, in professional baseball, you're expecting the pitchers to be able to hold the runners on and the catchers to throw the guys out. It's maybe a bit more important in amateur baseball and maybe, you know, under 13s. You don't want to be running wild on a team when you're up big, trample all over them.
Yeah, that's a good point as well there. Certainly at this level, we should expect the battery to be able to hold runners on pretty well. At the plate, Mr. Sunshine swinging through that fastball on the outside part of the plate. Getting ahead early, 0-1, Carl Kinman.
He did show off his luscious locks with a nice sliding play yesterday in the rain, Sam, and his hat came off and he looked like a California surfer.
Yeah, we were treated to see his, as that one's popped up between the shortstop and second baseman. Massey grabs it easily for the second out of the inning. We were treated to the full course that is Zach Clark's luscious locks yesterday. I wonder how long it's taken him to grow such a mane, and it is a mane indeed. Looking like a lion out there in left field.
I love the flow, Sam. You got to respect the flow.
You got to respect the flow, and you got to respect the batter at the plate. Gyu Yan Zhu, 2 for 2 so far on the day. Takes a fastball up for the first ball of the at-bat.
He got a couple borderline pitches called for strikes on him, but he is clutch, and he just shook that off and drove a ball in his last at-bat.
It'll be interesting to see if he's able to adjust to the left-handed pitcher. As we've mentioned a couple of times, struggling a little bit more against the left-handed arms of both the Bandits and the Cavalry. Takes a fastball on the lower part of the zone. Not very happy with that one. Having a little chat to Tom West, the home plate umpire. Nevertheless, the count will move to 2 balls and 1 strike.
As we mentioned, Sam, with a left-handed hitter, it is harder to hit that breaking ball from a left-handed pitcher, which dives out and away from the strike zone. Starts, of course, a little bit harder to see, with it often starting at your body almost and breaking into the strike zone for a strike, or starting on the outside corner and breaking away from the bat.
3-1 the count now to the man they call Ichi. He'll take that fastball out of the zone, and he continues his great day at the plate with a walk there.
Perfect day at the plate so far for Zhu. Had a slight brain fart at second base, thinking there was a walk and getting caught in between second and third last inning, but
yeah,
nothing much hurt when you've got a 9-run lead now.
Yeah, look, he's looked absolutely fantastic at the plate, but in no way, and with all of these players, there's a lot to their games that they're looking to round out and improve. Zhu, of course, probably his least... probably the worst part of his game is fielding, and he'll be looking to get some experience with the Tuatara, possibly round that part of his game out a little bit.
Definitely, Sam, but he has been thrust into a uncomfortable position. I don't think he's played much first base, so it is nice to see him get a trot out in the outfield today. He's still in rookie ball in the Orioles organization, so still very early on in his professional career, so just looking to iron out some of the kinks in his game.
It will be Luke Hansen at the plate. Takes a fastball on the outer third. Falling behind 0-1. Kinman will continue after a brief meeting at the mound with pitching coach, and the infield swings through that fastball.
Yeah, they'll be looking to get a couple more innings out of him, Sam, with a 9-run deficit. And in game 4 of the series, of course, the arms are a bit tired in the bullpen.
So as it stands, the Auckland Tuatara currently at the bottom of the rankings in their ABL Northeast Division with 3 wins and 7 losses. Although not too much separates them from the leaders in the league, the Brisbane Bandits, with 6 wins and 4 losses. A pretty close division so far. And look to see the Tuatara continue to battle as the season goes on and as they continue to improve and gel together as a team. Pretty exciting to see the new Auckland side so far over 3 weekends of baseball. They've looked pretty good. And Luke Hansen drills that one into left field, but not quite over the head of Perkins. That was on an absolute line. A good piece of hitting there by Hansen. He'll get a bit of love from first base coach Johnny Southey. But it will go down as an out to Perkins there in left field. So the score as it stands, 9-0 in the favor of the Auckland side.
Of course, all you can do at the plate is hit the ball hard, Sam. Sometimes they find gaps, sometimes they don't. That one didn't need to be too far either side of the right fielder to go in for an extra base hit, but right down the throat of the right fielder. Oh, the left fielder, sorry, in Kyle Perkins. But, you know, you're going to be pretty happy making hard contact like that, Sam.
Indeed, and something I'm sure that the coaches are also very clued into, being such a short season, only playing so many games. They're not going to be so inclined to trust the statistics. They'll be more looking at what they see at the plate, what they see on the mound with their own eyes rather than the numbers. Of course, in a longer season and with more seasons, like in the MLB, the more times you see a guy, the more you can trust those numbers. And indeed, what you see at the plate can be deceiving. But Steve Mintz will be trusting his eyes here. And Luke Hansen looking to solidify his spot in this Tuatara lineup. So one more weekend of home baseball to play after this one. They'll see the only other division rival they haven't played so far, the Sydney Blue Sox. We'll see them here at McLeod Park next weekend. Currently second in the division with 6 wins and 5 losses. A very important season as the Auckland side look to really stamp their mark on the Northeast Division of the ABL League.
Yeah, as you're talking about, Sam, the mental part of baseball is huge. You got to shake off the results not always going your way and trust the process when you do make hard contact like that.
Cole Mentor will continue here in the top of the 5th inning. Throws a fastball just outside for a ball. Looks like a changeup misses there. So falling behind early to number 36, Jack Middleton, the DH for the Canberra Cavalry.
Yeah, he'll be a bit disappointed falling behind 3-0 here with a 9-run lead. He should be looking to be very aggressive in the strike zone and keep that pitch count down and be efficient and go deep into this ball game.
So a 4-pitch walk given up to Jack Middleton, and Cole Mentor won't be happy with that one, but we saw him throw a 4-pitch walk last inning and came right back.
Of course, Cole Mentor will be interesting to see how long the Tuatara coaching staff stretch him out for. His longest outing of the season has been 4 2/3 innings.
It will be Koki Aoyagi at the plate. Another fastball missing up there. So Cole Mentor just losing his control a little bit in the top of the 5th. Trying to loosen things up on the mound is number 19. Let's see if he can show his class and battle back to the number 9 hitter.
Of course, especially with the 8-9 hitters up, you don't want to be giving up those free passes. Getting squeezed a little bit, but when you've thrown 5 balls in a row, you're less inclined to get that strike call from the home plate umpire.
So the display on the bottom right part of your screen, indeed incorrect there. Count currently 2-0 as Collier, the pitching coach, comes up to the mound. look, he's not going to be saying too much to the veteran righty now. Just giving him a little bit of time to relax, reset.
Maybe even a bit of gamesmanship, trying to buy some time to get that bullpen loose as well. Even the production team there thought that pitch got in there for a strike in the lower part of the zone.
Yeah, it seems everyone in the ballpark was a little bit fooled there, but Tom West, the guy who has the best seat in the house behind home plate, said it was a ball. 2 balls and no strikes to Aoyagi. Swings at that fastball, popped up over first base. Renaissance Richards scuttling back and winds up with the catch for the first out of the inning.
That strong wind blowing out to us in right field, carrying that ball just a little bit further than Richards initially thought, but scuttling back in. No mistakes made by Renaissance Richards, 14 on Instagram.
He's certainly become one of the favorites of the stream. We've seen him play everywhere. We've seen him hit all over the ballpark, and we'll continue to keep behind him as he shows the ABL what he can do. So Commenter will face the top of the lineup now with 1 out. It is Craig Massey, the shortstop, at the plate.
Commenter just on 66 pitches here, so been very efficient so far.
And an absolutely filthy change up
nasty.
there. Yeah, look, somebody better teach that pitch some manners because, as you say, John, that was pretty nasty. 1-1 is the count.
Commenter with 40 strikes and 27 balls in his 67 pitches so far. Maybe a few more balls than he would have liked. Generally, you want to stick to a 2-to-1 strike-to-ball ratio at least. But he's only given up I think he's only given up 2 walks so far, so his control has been pretty good.
1-2 is the count here to the shortstop, Massey. And he doesn't offer at that changeup. It will be Middleton able to advance on the pitch that got away from Way there.
Way getting just a little bit lazy trying to pick that ball rather than moving his body behind it. But it is pretty tough when you got to catch 3 games in the space of 3 days.
Yeah,
so you can be forgiven a little bit. I think with a 9-run lead, you're not too concerned.
2-2 the count now to Massey. We saw yesterday that one fouled down the third base line. The catcher for the Tuatara yesterday doing an absolutely good job. That was Yuki Kaneko.
Taka Kaneko.
Taka, pardon me there, folks. Taka Kaneko. Blocking, it seemed, every pitch that was thrown in the dirt, even with no runners on. A great example of the kind of work a catcher needs to put in to all the catchers around the country there as Massey fouls off a high fastball.
Especially for younger catchers, you don't want to get in the habit of picking balls, even without runners on. Tucker, the fresh legs, looking to impress the managers, of course, blocking everything, being an absolute wall back there. Great to see him get a start, one of the most interesting personalities in this Tuatara setup. Been teaching you a bit of Japanese as well, Sam? You've been teaching a bit of English, I think?
And a breaking ball swung on a miss there by Massey. We haven't seen the breaking ball too much, especially not to the lefties. But that one looked pretty nasty. Indeed, yes, I have been trying out a little bit of my Japanese to the Japanese contingent in this Tuatara lineup. I can't say much more than introduce myself. And probably with an absolutely horrendous accent. Kaneko's English certainly a lot better than my Japanese.
Yeah, and I think it was Japan Day in New Zealand yesterday, Sam. A big Japanese contingent came out to watch this lovely game of baseball. Baseball being the #1 sport in Japan, and big Japanese connection all throughout the ABL.
Yeah, it was great seeing Tanaichi throwing to Kaneko yesterday, and on the other side, it was Imanaga for the Cavalry. So a real Japanese day on Japan Day here at McLeod Park. 1-1 is the count with Middleton at second base. That one fouled just over the head of Richards. He will go back and catch that one over his shoulder for the third out. Toss it to the fans there. So Commenter doesn't give up a run through 5 innings of work. Looking pretty damn good so far. The score currently 9-0 in the favour of the home side. It looks as if Kinman will continue. We'll be back with you after these ads.
He might not look like much in an apron, but that's John Miller, holder of the Bledisloe Cup and 2 Investex Super Rugby titles. Mary Adams took Cleveland all the way to the playoffs. Where to next? Well, she won the New Zealand Derby with Ginger Nuts. Finally, meet Richard Sykes, a man with many loves, 80s hip-hop, his dog Buck Twain, and winning, specifically, the Cup final at Wembley. Now it's your turn. TAB, now you're in the game.
You're back with baseball action here at McLeod Park. The Tuatara looking very dominant so far through 5 innings of baseball. Commenter not giving up a run yet in the game. We'll see next half inning if the Tuatara will continue with him. It is a pitching change for the Canberra Cavalry. It will be number 22, Stephen Chambers, going for the Canberra side.
I remember Chambers pitching for the Bandits when Andrew Mark was actually a pitcher for the Bandits about 8-9 years ago. I always used to mistake their display pictures as they look quite similar.
Yeah, a bit of, looks like a bit of ginger going on in the beard there. The difference being possibly that Stephen Chambers might have a bit more hair on top compared to Andrew Mark. If you're watching back this broadcast, forgive me, Pinky, for making fun of your bald head. But it will be Chambers, the righty on the mound, a veteran of the ABL. As you say, Jun, he played 5 years with the Bandits, bit of time in Adelaide as well. He was there in the last 3 seasons and now playing for Canberra.
He doesn't have the highest velocity from what I remember, with a mid to high 80s fastball and a changeup, if I recall correctly, but that was 8-9 years ago, so we'll see if he's added anything to the mix.
And in this league, certainly the mid to high 80s fastball can get it done, especially when a pitcher's got control. We saw that with Kent on the mound earlier this weekend on Friday.
I mean, Commenter has shown you can do it even in the major leagues with just a high 80s fastball. There's been a few guys that have been able to succeed.
But
likes of Jamie Moyer, the old lefty. Currently, maybe a guy like Marco Estrada of the Blue Jays. He sits with a high 80s fastball, but he has a devastating changeup, which is always the great equalizer.
3-1 the count as Way fouls off the outside fastball. Certainly not the rule these days. We've seen Major League pitching get faster and faster as the pitchers just seem to have bullets for arms.
Of course, you are able to make a few more mistakes when you have that high heater. And with everyone, probably everyone in the world is getting a bit more stronger and athletic. Sports science improving, biomechanics improving, scouting improving. We are seeing a lot of high velocity out of bullpens these days.
A lot of the mechanics and sports science we're seeing with this Tuatara lineup, courtesy of Daisuke Hiro, one of the trainers for the Tuatara squad, a long-time resident of New Zealand and a big part of the Baseball New Zealand program, as Way draws a walk. So another leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
He is an absolute wizard with pitching and hitting mechanics, like we mentioned in our earlier broadcast. He's the head trainer of this Tuatara team. Has a physio clinic out in Browns Bay called Supporters NZ. Check it out. He is very busy. Hard to get a reservation, but he does work wonders.
Hirasawa now at the plate, takes a fastball on the inner part of the zone. Falls behind 0-1. Hirasawa recorded his first hit in the Tuatara uniform. Pops that one up just over the shortstop's head. Gets it in time, does Massey, doing a good job. Scuttling back to first is number 55, Kyo Chun Wei. He is indeed back in time. A pretty good play there by Massey at shortstop. Now, pardon me, that looked like, it looks as if we've had a...
They had a little switch there, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, it looks to be Kingham at shortstop now. The middle infield having swapped over this half of the inning. And indeed, it worked out for the Cavalry.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the middle infield swap there. Neither of them have made a mistake so far, but Kingham ranging out into left field, into right field, sorry, and making a great over-the-shoulder sliding catch.
Possibly the Canberra coaching staff saw into the future. 0-1 the count to Jenkins. He takes a pitch on the outside there. Evening up the count, 1-1 now.
Luke Hansen, one of the hitters on this team, of course. He's another one that...
And that ball into center field, coming to get it is Candelas. He comes up with it easily, so 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Luke Hansen, like I was just saying, he is another one of this Tuatara roster that credits Daisuke Hiro, the trainer, with helping him refine his swing, retooled his swing, and he wishes he was around earlier in his younger days, he tells me.
One of the most important aspects of a young baseball player's training is establishing those mechanics at an early age. It is very hard to change your mechanics once you're already locked in with sometimes quite poor mechanics.
Yeah, muscle memory is a hard thing to break, especially once you get a bit older in your years.
Daniel Lamb Hunt at the plate now, falling quickly behind 0-2.
Of course, especially with hitting, you don't want to be thinking too much about your swing mechanics while you're at the plate. It's hard enough to hit a round ball with a round bat, as the cliche goes, when you're trying to think about what your body parts are doing.
That one hit softly to Kingham at shortstop. We'll flip it across to Massey. 3 outs recorded and a scoreless inning in the 5th here for Canberra. Through 5 innings so far, the score remains 9-0 in favour of the Auckland Tuatara.
Speaking on the Japanese connection, I've seen Naoyuki Shimizu floating around the ballpark the last couple weekends. He was a closer that won a gold medal at the Olympics for Samurai Japan, and I think he might be the connection that's helped get us a couple of these excellent starting pitches from the Chiba Lotte Marines that we've seen this weekend, the likes of Taneichi and Sakai.
Yeah, the Japanese connection, very important to the success of the Tuatara lineup. Of course, the local players, the likes of Luke Hansen, you saw hit a very hard ball into center field last inning, along with Andrew Mark. Chris Richards really pressuring the Japanese imports on their spots in the team. And it just goes to show how important being around high levels of baseball is in terms of the competitive nature you see come out in the local players. Really just everyone bringing everyone around them up to their own level.
Definitely, and the local players probably been a bit of a surprise to the coaching staff and the general manager Ryan Flynn, probably performing better than he ever expected. It's good to see though, with it giving hope for anyone playing in local club baseball here in Auckland and actually all around the country now, that if you are able to hit maybe in the likes, you probably have to hit into the 500s, as Andrew Mark constantly tells us that he does. But if you can hit maybe 500 in our local league, it means you can hang at this ABL level. And even the likes of Ryota Okamoto, who pitches to a low ERA in the Auckland League, has had success in the ABL. So just goes to show if you keep working at it, even if you are in New Zealand, you can succeed at a professional level. Because this is probably up to single, double A level of ball here, Sam.
A really high level of baseball we've seen so far at McLeod Park. Colemanter continuing his work on the mound, scoreless through 5 innings. He'll go into his 6th inning of work. He fires a strike on the outside third. It is number 24, Zach Wilson at the plate, the first baseman.
Like you said, the local players doing a great job. Even the likes of Rockies prospect Taylor Schneider actually getting a bit of a rest today after a bit of struggles at the plate.
A hit early, 0-2, fires a fastball outside.
Of course, it's a bit critical of us when he's just stepped off the plane all the way from the States and just landed here on Thursday.
He looked good at the plate. He's got a beautiful swing, and that one hit hard and deep over the left fielder's head, and that one will be just at the bottom of the fence. And an easy double there for Zach Wilson, the first baseman, showing off his beautiful swing. Got a little bit excited here in the booth. That one looking like it was going to go out, and it was hit very hard, but the crosswind combined with the deep fences meant that it stayed inside the ballpark, and Zhu able to keep the runner at second base. So with no outs, one of the first opportunities the Cavalry have to really threaten the scoreboard.
I don't blame you for jumping out your seat there, Sam. I think that's a home run in any other ballpark in the ABL.
Robbie Perkins, number 9, bats now for the Cavalry. Commenter comes set. Fires a nasty break, a nasty change-up there. Swinging over it is Perkins. And just an example of how silly a change-up can make the hitter look. Way out in front was Perkins, so 1-1 the count now with the runner on second base. Time called.
Wonder how long Steve Mintz, the Tuatara manager, will leave Commenter out there this afternoon. This is his longest outing in the ABL so far.
That one dribbled to Hirasawa, flicks it to Chris Richards. The runner will advance, but an out achieved.
4 2/3 was his longest outing previously, which he achieved in his first start. So be interesting to see how long he leaves him out there for. Of course, with a 9-run lead to play with, bit less pressure on this Tuatara bullpen. They might go with maybe able to roll out with some of their less experienced members of the bullpen.
That breaking ball fouled off now. Ahead early, 0-1.
Thinking the top of their depth chart would be Tomohito Sakai. He did go 3 innings, but we did hear he would be available if it was a close ball game. But of course, with a 9-run lead, they'll probably be resting him. Likes of Cone and Harada would be next on the depth chart, in my opinion. But they did also go an inning yesterday, so with a 9-run lead, like I keep mentioning, they're probably maybe going to go with a few less seasoned guys in their bullpen. Maybe with the likes of Markland and Boyce having a pretty good outing on Friday, Sam.
Yeah, that's right. When you're ahead by so much, or perhaps if you're behind, a good opportunity to get some guys who may not get game time. If the game is close, you'll often see managers getting some experience under the belts for the younger players. We'll wait and see what Steve Mintz has in store for the pitching. But Commenter, very good so far through 5 1/3 innings so far. That one fouled off there by Cam Warner, the third baseman.
Of course, Chen, the Taiwanese import, didn't pitch yesterday either, and he has even started for this Tuatara team, sorry. So he might be able to go a few innings in relief if they need him.
Less than 2 outs with a runner on third base. Canberra looking to get their first run on the board. Commenter with 2 strikes on Warner will be looking for the strikeout. Watch for a nasty change up here. He misses his spot just up, but coming across is Richards. Just over the first base dugout. Wasn't able to make a play on that one, so the at-bat will continue. 1-2 is the count.
If that was in play, I'm sure he would have caught it. Had an outstanding game on defense so far. Has the Renaissance man.
Yeah, he'd probably catch the ball, make you dinner, and take you out for a movie afterwards. Just doing everything on the diamond we have seen. Chris Richards. And that one will just break the gap between shortstop, and you see Coleman to throw his glove up in frustration. He did a good job of getting weak contact from Warner and possibly just getting a little bit unlucky. You'll see Steve Mintz, the Tuatara manager, approach the mound, and Coleman knows he's done with that one. So through 5 1/3 innings, Coleman gives up 1 run, but he looked pretty good, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely, Sam. His best outing of the season so far, getting a rousing applause from a pretty good crowd that's turned up. Coleman there, looking like he has a bit more life on his fastball, and it looks like they are going with Chen, like I mentioned. He is their long relief option in the bullpen. He looked pretty good on Friday too, after getting left off the roster for the Bandit series. And Coleman there, tossing his glove up in frustration. I just love to see that he cares so much about giving up runs when this is a level far below what he is actually used to playing at, Sam.
Yeah, you could expect the 7-season MLB veteran to, after that 2017 season when he was dropped, was it injury?
Yeah, a bit of arm trouble that led to his maybe just slight lack of performance with his last half season with the Braves. Of course, pitching very taxing on your body after having 7 long seasons in the majors.
You could forgive him for turning it in after that, but the love of the game has drawn him back, much to the pleasure of the crowd here at McLeod Park, seeing such a fantastic pitcher on the mound for the Tuatara, and we're very lucky to have him.
And with a 9-run lead, you might forgive him for not really caring about giving up that run, but he looked actually pretty upset despite having such a good performance. It's always good to see. Sure, you don't survive in the top echelons of baseball without a competitive spirit, though.
So Yushan Chen has struggled so far in what we've seen of him, giving up what looks to be 5 runs across 4 innings of baseball so far, giving up 9 hits. He'll be looking to improve those numbers. We've seen him in 2 appearances so far. He pitched in Perth in that opening series, gave up most of his runs there. And his last appearance on Friday did pretty well, throwing an inning, only giving up 1 run.
Looking back in hindsight, that outing against Perth maybe not quite as bad as we thought, as that Perth Heat team is probably the most dangerous offense in the ABL this season. He did strike out the side against the Cavalry earlier on Friday, so good bounce back after being left off the roster.
We'll keep chiming on about it. Don't trust the numbers so early on in the season. Chen delivers that fastball across to Lam Hunt. He'll flick it to Hansen, who'll go over to first. He throws it over the head of Richards.
And no chance of turning 2 there anyway, but a pretty errant throw that Wade did a good job backing up.
Yeah, a good job there by Way. Hansen won't be very happy with that one. That one got away from him a little bit. But an out recorded nonetheless. So 2 down in the top of the 6th inning. The score currently 9-1. It is Chen on the mound for the Tuatara.
Trying to rush that throw, getting that speedy runner. The machine malfunctioning just a little bit late in this game.
Yeah, we'll check if he's been well oiled between innings. Make sure that those gears aren't clogging up. So it will be Logan Kingham, who's moved to shortstop now at the plate. Chen getting a call in his favor on the just getting the outside part of the plate. 1-1 is the count. And a ground ball hit gets past the shortstop Hirasawa, so that'll be recorded as a hit. Runners on first and second.
Just sneaking through there. Chen getting the result he was after with a pretty weak ground ball, but just sneaking through the hole.
So Chen will want to stomp out this rebellion we're seeing from the Cavalry. Lots of baseball left to play today. So he'll want to keep the scores as they are and get out of this inning as soon as possible. At the plate now, Jack Middleton, the DH.
2-out rallies are going to be what the Cavalry need to make up this 8-run deficit in the top of the 6th. They're going to have to take every opportunity when there are base runners on board.
That fastball just a little bit high, says home plate umpire Tom West.
This is when Chen has got in trouble, when he tries to nibble a bit too much. With an 8-run lead, you don't want to be trying to be too fine around the strike zone.
And we'll see him groove a fastball to the number 8 hitter, fouls it off. Misses his spot just a little bit. Seems like he's missing a little bit high so far in his appearance. We'll see if he can make the adjustment and get the final out of this 6th inning. And he hits a spot there, so the count will move to 2-2 as Middleton fouls that one off.
The big DH looking to do a bit of damage, taking a couple healthy hacks there, but Chen executing his pitch on the down and outside, low and outside corner, which is a very tough pitch to drive.
And he goes with the fastball up, but Middleton doesn't nibble, so the count moves full now.
Yeah, not nibbling at that high cheese, which is a very tempting pitch to swing at. Middleton showing a good eye there.
Yeah, especially on a pitcher who doesn't throw so hard as he grounds that one to Hirasawa. He fumbles a little bit, able to recover. Reaching over is Richards. That'll be called out, so Richards making a great play, stretching to as far as it looks like he can go. Continues to impress the home crowd. 3 outs recorded in the top of the 6th inning. We will return after this short ad break.
When your clients say do it fast, but keep it quiet, there is an easy solution. The Makita 18-volt X2 brushless 6-speed blower. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
Welcome back to McLeod Park. We just saw Chris Richards making a fine stretch at first base there to record the 3rd out in the 6th inning. Seen him do the splits a couple times in this series. Those old muscles showing a bit more flexibility than you might have thought. Richards can do everything on the diamond like we keep mentioning. The 3, 4, 5 hitters for the Tuatara lineup will be up in the bottom of the 6th inning here, with Brown, Richards, and Clark due to hit, providing there are no more changes. Number 22 for the Cavalry, Stephen Chambers, going out for his 2nd inning of relief work. He just gave up that 1 walk as his lone base runner. Brown getting that nice double down the 3rd baseline on a hard hit ball. Will be looking to carry on and lift that batting average up from 171.
It is Chambers, the righty, who will continue at McLeod Park on this beautiful day. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Max Brown takes a breaking ball outside, so 1 ball and no strikes is the count. Brown standing at about 6'6" there from the right-hand side of the plate, making home plate umpire Tom West Look a bit like a hobbit behind the dish.
We've seen the hulking presence of John Holdscombe around the park as well, Sam, who actually makes Max Brown look quite short, which speaks to how tall John Holdscombe is.
Yeah, John Holdscombe, an absolute Goliath of a man. One of the nicest guys in baseball you can meet, of course. One of the other major leaguers, as Max Brown hits that ball high into right center, getting under it is Candelas, ranging back to the edge of his range, about 7 meters from the fence. So that ball was hit hard. A good piece of contact from Max Brown. It won't give him the result he wanted, but it was a good sign. A great piece of hitting, but it wasn't to be.
As we keep mentioning, trust the process. That was a hard hit ball. You can't do too much more than that, as Brown made great contact on that pitch.
As I was saying, John Holdscombe, one of the other MLB tenured pitchers in this Tuatara lineup. Richards grounds that one to Kingham in time for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Holdscombe, he's actually had a very good MLB career. Very short MLB stint with the Pirates, coming in off the back of an independent ball season and actually worked himself into the 8th inning role for a playoff team. He had a few injury concerns, which is why he hasn't stuck around at the major league level. Nothing to do with his actual performance. It'd be great to see him out there, though. He does throw in the upper 90s from a 6'9" height. Very tough to hit.
If you go back and watch some of the replays of the games he threw in, he made some of those MLB hitters look a bit silly with that change-up he throws.
Yeah, his palm ball, which is pretty unique at the major league level. And he had a high 90s cutting fastball.
Clark swinging through that good breaking ball by Chambers. I think Holdscombe should be ready to go by next weekend. Another reason to come out and watch the great baseball you'll see on display at McLeod Park. Holdscombe, another one of the players looking to revive their MLB career.
Of course, he's probably the only member that's represented New Zealand.
And that one's hit hard, but able to range over is Kingham. So Clark will record the 3rd out of the 6th inning. As we move into the 7th inning, the score as it stands is 9-1 in favour of the Auckland Tuatara.
Like I was mentioning, Holdscombe, the only member of the World Baseball Classic New Zealand team that's played in the majors, I believe. He was born and bred in the States. I think he has a slight Kiwi connection through one of his parents. We're still yet to see a New Zealand-born major leaguer make it to the MLB. Our closest being the likes of Scott Campbell, who you were coached by, and he would have made it. He definitely had the skills and talent playing at the AAA level, but just as he was on the verge of breaking in with the Blue Jays, he had a few hip injuries that just never quite got better.
That's right.
Yeah, he dominated at the AAA level. I think he hit like 350, I believe. Yeah. Played in the Futures game with the likes of Elvis Andrews. Pretty much everyone he played with in that Futures All-Star game did end up making it to the majors. So that's just a testament to the talent he had, but just the injuries, you just can't really do anything about them.
Really demonstrates the frailty that a professional sporting career can bring. And we got a few guys you'll want to keep an eye on out there over the next few years. A few New Zealand pieces of talent in the minor league levels. Probably the one, if you had to put your money on being the next MLB player for New Zealand, indeed the first, would be Kyle Glagowski.
Oh, definitely, Sam. If I had to put a bet on, it would be Glagowski. Still very early on in his professional career. Only playing at the rookie ball level so far, which is the lowest level of minor league baseball.
Slated to move up to single A ball in this next season. Slated to at least start the short A season over there, but I was talking to him before the Brisbane series started last weekend, and his goal is to impress enough to make it into the longest season of the extended A-ball over there. And from what we've seen so far here at McLeod Park, he's on track to do that.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. This ABL league is at the single A to double A level of minor league baseball, so him just being lights out at this level shows he would be up to scratch.
Ryota Okamoto at the mound for the Tuatara, one of the unlikely heroes so far for the Auckland side, was called up at the nth minute. The Tuatara were in need of a lefty specialist, and Okamoto, the veteran of the Auckland League, able to answer the call, has been very impressive so far. Hasn't given up a run with a 0 ERA through 3 innings of work so far.
He's always come into high-pressure situations as well, Sam, and he's just always got the job done so far for the Tuatara.
Just a cool head on him, as that one is fouled off.
Including in their Game 2 victory yesterday. Yesterday around midday, he came in for the aforementioned Glagoski with runners on first and second and got his one hitter out that he faced in Massey.
Another good reason, if you're not already, to start playing baseball in New Zealand. Another example of the success in the Auckland League, just showing that it can translate into a professional team like the Tuatara.
Definitely, Sam, and we've been on the receiving end of a few strikeouts at the hands of Ryota.
Certainly in some of the national New Zealand finals, he's made a few of the Howick hitters look pretty silly as he throws his signature breaking ball there just out of the zone. It seems as if he throws about 8 different breaking balls, all different depths of break, but talking to him before the game, he assures me that no, he only throws a slider and a curveball is what he claims. And you see there, the curveball gets the outside part of the plate, freezes up number, looks to be 22. Pardon me, who was that? That was number 12.
Sorry, a few changes have been made, I think, so just the scoreboard not quite updating in time, but he froze him with a nasty hook there.
Yeah, that was absolutely filthy. It was Lee Mills, in fact, number 12 for the Canberra Cavalry, who was victim to that nasty breaking ball. Okamoto having a lot of success against lefties so far, but a few righties now, and he's not looking like he's too out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. I think the Tuatara management are looking at seeing what he can do against right-handed hitters. He has been exclusively working against lefties, and
that one is drilled into foul territory down the left field line.
Of course, it gives you a lot more versatility, even as a left-handed hitter, if you can get those right-handed hitters out, especially if a lineup's constructed lefty, righty, lefty. If you can get that right-handed hitter out in between the two lefties, it means you can get a bit more work in.
Okamoto will come set and deliver the pitch. A breaking ball in the dirt for the second ball. So 2-1 is the count at the plate. Looks to be number 27, David Candelas. So we think Lee Mills has come in to replace Craig Massey at second base for the Cavalry. A fastball drilled, gets past third baseman Lam Hunt, so that'll be a hit recorded for Candelas. A single here in the top of the 7th inning with 2 outs.
Of course, like we have mentioned, no New Zealand-born player yet to make the majors. We might see the first South African-born player in our shores next weekend in Gift Ngope, who played for the Pirates a couple seasons ago, I believe. He's the starting shortstop for the Blue Sox.
So Ryota Okamoto facing what might be the toughest lineup he's had so far, with a high fly ball. Ranging over is Max Brown. He'll take it easily in right field. So Okamoto able to work through the top of the lineup for the Cavalry, continuing to show his class here at McLeod Park.
A little interesting fact for you, Sam. There is actually one major leaguer born at sea. So in the Atlantic Ocean. So we're New Zealand's still behind the Atlantic Ocean in the number of Major League Baseball players produced.
Well, I wouldn't expect that to last too long, especially with the development we'll see. That will come with the Tuatara squad.
Development in the travel arrangements for most players as well. And most passengers flying by air, not by boat, as they did in the 1800s.
Indeed, we will join you very shortly after this short ad break.
Chainsaws need real grunt. Your mates won't believe the jobs you can tackle with a Makita 18-volt X2 brushless chainsaw. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
Kia ora, folks, and welcome back to McLeod Park. My name is Sam Harvey. With me is the Grinch that stole baseball, Jun Kim, in the booth here on a beautiful day at McLeod Park. It looks as if we've got a pitching change now for the Canberra side. It will be Liam Shearer on the mound. A couple of changes in the Tuatara lineup. The young Yuki Takahashi, a local product of the North Shore Baseball Club, will lead off the inning here with his first professional at-bat. So let's see what the young righty can do against a pitching change here in the young Liam Shearer.
Yuki Takahashi, one of the best athletes in Auckland baseball. Great speed and power with the bat. Good arm too. He did actually pitch in the Bandits preseason games, and he's just got a full scholarship to junior college in Colorado, which is where he'll be heading
and this
in
guy,
the new year.
This guy's just another example of how hard work can really pay off. You watch him before games, after games, under the tutelage of Dan Tan, the head coach of that North Shore Baseball Club, the bench coach, as he gets that one for his first big professional hit. That one will hit the gap between first and second base, and he'll be very happy with that. He let that one get deep in the zone. And a big cheer from the dugout as Takahashi gets on the board. So as I was saying, Dan Tan, of course, anyone involved in New Zealand baseball will know the name.
Recognize that poker face on the baseball field. Some say they've never seen him smile at the ballpark, even though he does absolutely love the game.
And such an important part of the Baseball New Zealand family. Under the tutelage of Dan Tan, Yuki has worked so hard and has achieved a lot, and there's a lot more to come from number 12.
Dan Tan doing a great job at North Shore Baseball Club, along with the likes of David Fegan and Adam Loff, of course, but their playing numbers have increased drastically, and they are probably one of the strongest clubs in New Zealand now, Sam.
They've taken the national title a couple times in the last few years. Of course, Ryota Okamoto, another important part of that North Shore team. We see Luke Hansen at the plate now. He does come around on that ball. He'll want that one back. Hansen swinging at a couple of pitches. He's way out in front of a breaking ball for the second strike, and not very happy with that at bat. Possibly a little trigger happy at the plate was Hansen. And that'll move us now to Hyo Chun-wei, the catcher, with one out, and Takahashi on first base.
Takahashi, I think he did get signed with that, get that full scholarship as a pitcher. They're looking at him as an arm at this stage, but I think his talents really lie at the plate and in the field with his extreme athleticism.
Yeah, something you see with a lot of good baseball players in their early careers is they excel both on the mound and at the plate. And it isn't until later at college or once they get signed that they really do knuckle down and just specialize in one of the two positions. Of course, in the major leagues, we've seen the first real two-way guy as that fastball misses up. The first two-way guy, he's been put as the reincarnation of Babe Ruth.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani won Rookie of the Year for the American League, and he's been incredible to watch. He did have Tommy John surgery, so he wasn't able to pitch in the back end of the season, but he was swinging a hot bat. Apparently he put on some of the most impressive batting practice displays ever seen.
Shohei Ohtani signing with Major League Baseball club, the LA Angels, at quite a young age. If he'd waited a couple more seasons, he would have been eligible for a lot more money, but just loves the game so much that he signed earlier. He wanted to play the highest level of baseball he could as soon as he could to really hone his skills. And a great player, wherever you are in New Zealand, if you're a young baseball player, that is a guy to follow and a guy to try to emulate the work ethic of.
Yeah, he just loves the game. Like you said, if he waited, I think, one more season in Japan, he would have been able to avoid the posting system for Japanese players moving to the MLB and be able to sign as a free agent. He probably left a couple $100 million off the board, which is almost ridiculous to think about, but he just cares about challenging himself at the highest level. He's not about the money, which is pretty refreshing to see at the top level.
One of the players who plays in the Nippon Baseball League, Taiga Hirasawa, at the plate now. Just to give you an idea of how good that Japanese Baseball League is. Shohei Ohtani, a product, of course, of that league. 3-1 is the count. Hirasawa at the plate. Rounds that one, flipped to second base, and not quite in time, the quick Hirasawa, and caught in a rundown is Hansen at third base. A mistake by the, pardon me, that wasn't Hansen at third base. We'll quickly get an update.
I think that might have been Yuki Takahashi. Just a little inexperience there, getting a bit eager, trying to score his first run.
We apologize to Luke Hansen, if you're listening. That was, in fact, Takahashi caught in a rundown. So Hirasawa grounding out to second base on the fielder's choice. He was able to beat it out, but Takahashi getting caught out there. So no runs scored, a double play to end the inning. 9-1 is the score. So we will see if the Tuatara can hold the Canberra Cavalry hitters as they are after this short ad break.
Chainsaws need real grunt. Your mates won't believe the jobs you can tackle with a Makita 18-volt X2 brushless chainsaw. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
Kia ora, folks, and welcome back to McLeod Park. We have a pitching change for the home side. It will be Brandon Markland, the right-hander, on the mound. Through 7 innings of baseball, the Tuatara have really looked quite dominant, as you see, through the second, third, and fourth inning, really jumping on these Canberra Cavalry pitches. A lot of hard-hit balls. And the pitches with Colementer getting through 5 2/3 innings of work looked very good indeed.
His best outing of the season so far. As we're speaking about just a little earlier, Shohei Ohtani's success at the MLB level as a two-way player, I think it's been opening the minds of some of the MLB executives, and one of the top picks in recent times, Hunter Green. I think they haven't actually slated him to either pitch or be a shortstop. I think they're letting him do his thing and play two ways, which I don't think they would have done without the success of Ohtani in the majors, who proved a lot of doubters wrong, Sam.
And certainly just shows, especially after he needed Tommy John surgery, the fact that he can continue as a hitter, how much value being a two-way guy can bring to a team. And that one is hit hard to Hirasawa. It fumbles at shortstop. And that ball was really smoked at number 4 at shortstop.
Yeah, and with bullpen usage increasing, it's a huge advantage to be able to save a roster spot by having someone that can play on both sides of the ball. And a couple guys, even at the college level, there are quite a lot more two-way players. The likes of Mitch Moreland of the Red Sox and Michael Lorenzen of the Reds were great two-way players in college.
That one chopped to Hansen. He'll flip it to Hirasawa. Flipping again to first base. Not quite in time to get Cam Warner.
A little acrobatic flip by Luke Hansen there, showing the machine does have a bit of creativity as well.
Very impressive play by the second baseman, but not quite in time to get the speedy Warner.
And yeah, we've seen, like the likes of Lorenzen for the Reds, Sam. He's a great relief pitcher, but he's been even used in a pinch hitting role last season, and it just shows the value playing on both sides of the ball can give to a ball club.
Carl Perkins, the left fielder, at the plate. Swings through that fastball.
Markland with that high velocity fastball from the right side. Had a good outing on Friday after a few struggles earlier in the season.
That one grounded to Hirasawa. He turns and doesn't quite get it in time to second base. A pretty good play there by the shortstop. Turning with his momentum going the other way and putting a pretty good throw there to Hansen at second base, but Warner able to make it in time. Runners on first and second now with one out.
Markland with that hard sinker, able to get the ground ball, just a little too deep in the hole for Hirasawa to get that force play at second. Made good ground getting to that on the backhand side, but not quite the arm strength to make the play.
Markland, the young 22-year-old, looking for some exposure with the Auckland team here. He's appeared in 3 appearances so far, a couple over in Perth, and we saw him on Friday in that loss to the Cavalry. That one is drilled foul down the right field line. So far in his what looks to be 4 innings of work, he has only given up 2 runs with 5 hits and 1 strikeout. So let's see if he can shut out this 8th inning with runners on first and second. That one is drilled straight down the throat of Max Brown. He'll camp under it. Tagging is number 4, Warner. The relay won't be in time. Hansen holds on to it, so runners at first and third now. That one hit very hard by Kingham right down the throat of Max Brown. Well positioned out there in right field.
Yeah, Markland with good velocity on that fastball. We'll look to see if he can harness his off-speed pitches a little bit better than he has. Of course, at this level, even if you do throw hard, hitters are still going to square you up if you can't keep them off balance with a breaking pitch or a changeup.
You see Kyo Chun Wei, the catcher, coming out, giving signs to his infield with runners at first and third. Most likely, if you see number 11, Perkins, trying to steal a base here, expect the throw down to second base. That run at third base not meaning very much at this point, especially with 2 outs.
Definitely, you're going to play to get the out rather than be concerned about the runner scoring from third with an 8-run lead.
Jack Middleton at the plate, the DH, fouls that one into the grandstand down the first base line.
And vice versa, from the Cavalry point of view, you're not really too concerned about trying to swipe second from first here, with it being late in the game and being down 8. You are wanting to get a big rally.
1-1 the count now. That one is roped again down the throat of Max Brown. He pitches his tent under that one for the 3rd out of the inning. Gets a little fire going. Will roast some marshmallows as he records the 3rd out of the inning. So we will move to the bottom of the 8th with the scores remaining 9-1 in favor of the home side.
Great performance by the Tuatara Ball Club so far. Like I mentioned, giving the coaching staff a nice, easy victory for once. The coaching staff is consisting of Steve Mintz, the head manager, the king of the lizards, with Darren Bragg, you'll see out at third base, who's the hitting coach. Collier, you've often seen come out to the bullpen, is the pitching coach. And Mr. Energy, Johnny Southey at first. And, of course, Dan Tan, the aforementioned bench coach, the man who does not change expression.
I will just have to call you out there, Jun, on calling this game a little bit too early. Come on, man. You can't say that the game's in the bag just yet.
I'm a man of logic, Sam. I do not believe in superstition, unlike most baseball players. 8-run lead this late in the game with just 3 outs to get.
Well, now they're definitely going to lose. So we'll get the update. There is a pitching change for the Canberra Cavalry, number 35. Not on our team roster from the start of the game, but our scoreboard will be updated, and we'll get you the name of the pitcher momentarily. It looks...
Maybe the scoring ladies are having a bit of trouble as well, Sam. It's not quite updating.
But we'll call what we can see. Number 35, tall righty. We'll throw to Eric Jenkins. Eric Jenkins 0 for 4 on the day. After a pretty good day yesterday, of course, with that bomb. The wind still blowing out to right field at McLeod Park. A good opportunity to put another one on the board for the lefty.
Eric Jenkins, of course, getting a rest in the field, just DHing today. It has been shown at the major league level, at least, and I'm sure that translates to other levels of professional baseball, that hitters that normally hit in the field, play in the field as well, when they do get moved to the DH spot, they don't quite perform at the level with the bat as when they do when they're playing in that field as well, which is pretty interesting, Sam.
Yeah, possibly a reflection of lapses in concentration, maybe. When you're in the field, you're in the game much more than taking the inning off. When you're in the DH spot, having to sit on the bench, of course, all speculation, the reasons behind why the numbers show that.
The reasons why might be confusing, but the numbers have definitely shown that you do perform worse when you do get moved into the DH spot.
And over that many games, as we've said, the numbers don't tend to lie. You see at the plate now.
I think that looks like Dom Elliott, the development player for Central City. One of the most athletic players in baseball in New Zealand.
So he's taking the spot of Eric Jenkins. Falling behind early 0-2 to a couple of fastballs, a little bit behind them.
We'll try, hopefully, if we can maybe get a running play he made put up on the Tuatara Facebook page. He made an incredible play running down third to home, and he leaped over the catcher and cleared the catcher by a long distance, did a front flip, and landed on home plate, Sam.
A very athletic play there, but a disappointing start to his professional baseball career, going down in 3 pitches. Pretty tough, facing what looks to be a little bit of heat in number 35. Still waiting for an update on the actual name of this pitcher. We apologize for that. Ayrton Laird now, number 2, the man who you saw come into pinch run last week Friday for what was to be the winning run and the very first victory in the history of Tuatara baseball. Something this young man will never forget.
He's mostly been brought in for his legs so far for this team, but he's actually I rate him highly as a hitter. He's got extremely quick hands, and despite his small frame, he's got pretty good power.
And just by looking at him, this guy looks like one of the most relaxed players I've seen so far today. In his first professional baseball appearance, you wouldn't guess it. Looking pretty nonchalant in the plate right now. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. So 2-2 the count.
Out of all the development players they've got, I'd back him to be the most successful for the Tuatara. He's got great hand-eye coordination.
Swinging at that breaking ball, a pretty good pitch. And a hard one to lay off.
It's pretty tough when you're seeing upper 70s, low 80s in our league and have to adjust to professional level pitching when you've never seen it before, though. And he just does get caught on that nasty hook by number 35.
Very good experience for these young players. And for the players in the stands as well today, of course, free entry it was for our junior baseball players if they came in uniform. Max Brown at the plate. Takes a breaking pitch inside. Max Brown getting a pretty good double down the left field line earlier on today. Looking to continue his good work at the plate. Swings through that one. Head flying a little bit off the pitch.
He also hit that one to the warning track in his last at bat. A little bit unlucky, but hit the ball hard.
He certainly looks like he's becoming a bit more comfortable at the plate, seeing the ball a little bit better. Takes a breaking ball. Pretty good pitch in the lower part of the zone for strike 2. 1-2 is the count. Max Brown at the plate. He's on time on that one, but a pretty good pitch, a fastball on the outer third. Pretty good job to foul that one off and stay alive.
He has shown more of a propensity to foul tough pitches off as the season has been going on, which is a good sign for him.
And he takes that breaking ball in the dirt. The New Zealand, the Auckland management team have seen enough of Brown in his both his college career and his semi-professional career so far to know that he's got the stuff to compete at this level. Obviously already having some time in the ABL, he's definitely already had success.
I think he was actually managed by Steve Mintz when he was with the Bite just last season. He didn't have much game time, but...
And he drives that one into right field. That'll pop in for his second hit of the day. Just getting in front of Aoyagi. Didn't have a chance to catch that one. So with 2 out, Max Brown makes it aboard. That'll bring up Renaissance man Richards, the first baseman.
Yeah, good piece of two-strike hitting by Brown. Shortening up, putting it in play, and just dunking it into the outfield.
Richards making good use of the wind yesterday to hit an absolutely exciting walk-off home run. Pardon me, folks. I keep getting mixed up on that one. It was indeed called a double in the end.
Yeah, bit of contention about that. Some of the players seem to think it bounced off the top of the fence. Of course, that winning run was going to score regardless of whether it was a double or a home run, but sure, Richards would like to pad the stats a little bit and get it called a home run, as all baseball players do care about their stats, despite what they tell you.
Let's see if he can tack on a little bit more on his stats here. Watch for Richards to be swinging freely with 2 balls. And he does hit that one hard down the right field line. Just going foul there. As you do see Richards swinging freely with such a big lead. If he sees a strike, he'll be lit and rip for sure.
Aoyagi was herring after that. He's shown great range in the outfield this weekend, but that one just drifted into foul territory.
That fastball taken up out of the zone. 3-1 the count. The hitters count in favor. It's a pretty good situation for Richards to try and cement his place in this Tuatara lineup. And he swings through a fastball high in the zone.
That's the kind of swing you want to take, 3-1. You don't want to get cheated. A little bit elevated fastball, but he took a mighty hack on that, as you want to do in a 3-1 count.
So count is full now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Expect a strike, and he does rip that one over the shortstop's head, and Richards doing a good job with that fastball low in the zone. Hitting that ball pretty hard over the head of Kingman.
Remember, Renaissance Rich 14 on Instagram. He is my local hero on this Tuatara team. I'm just loving how he's been playing.
Absolute fairy tale coming out of Wellington there. Ex-minor league baseball player, Wellington development officer. They're very lucky to have him down there. If you're thinking about playing baseball in the Wellington region, if you play a different sport, you'll definitely want to join up and get some tutelage by that man who's standing on first base right now.
Yeah, they've done a great job in the Wellington region developing baseball, along with Chris Richards is another figure in Wellington, Regan Wood, who I've seen floating around in the dugout as well.
Zach Clark at the plate, falling behind quickly, 0-2. If Chris Richards is a fairy tale story, Zach Clark must be Goldilocks in that fairy tale. Hitting that one hard to the first baseman. Flipping it across to the pitcher, who does a good job of covering the base. Recording the third out of the 8th inning. So Tuatara kept scoreless once again. And the lead currently 9-1 as we move to the last inning of play here at McLeod Park.
Yeah, he's got the luscious locks of a Disney princess. But he is a very well-built young man. Good speed and power. Very athletic man in Zach Clark.
So we wait to see who it will be on the mound for the Tuatara. We'll find that out after this short block of ads.
Fast, tough, and zero emissions. When you need to do some serious trimming, you need the Makita 18-volt X2 hedge trimmer. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
So here we are in what will most likely be the last half inning of baseball at McLeod Park on a beautiful afternoon. Thank you very much for sticking with us through 8 innings of baseball so far. We enjoy having you with us on whatever platform that may be, whether it be YouTube, ABL TV, for those of you watching on Stuff or New Zealand Herald. Welcome and thank you for joining us. There is a pitching change for the Tuatara. It is number 17, Yuki Harada, another player out of Japanese independent ball. So far, Yuki has struggled a little bit through 3 2/3 innings. He's given up 6 earned runs on 6 hits with a couple walks and a couple of strikeouts. So he'll look to get 3 outs now in the top of the 9th inning and shut things down against the Canberra team.
Yeah, 4 of those runs were given up in that disastrous loss to Perth. He gave up a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 7th inning there in that shortened game of the doubleheader in Western Australia. His stuff has looked really good, actually, just a bit unlucky to maybe get a few hits strung against him in a row.
Aoyagi at the plate for the Cavalry. Takes a fastball up and out of the zone. And Aoyagi hitting that ground ball to Hirasawa. Throws it to Richards for the first out of the 9th inning.
Yeah, good opportunity for the Tuatara bullpen to get a bit of work in a low-pressure situation. Be able to maybe work on a few mechanical issues he might have been having and just get a few comfortable innings under the belt.
It seems like the Tuatara management did put a bit of faith into Harada in those first few appearances, possibly losing a little bit of faith in him. And he'll be looking to gain back their trust with this appearance.
Yeah, maybe just looking to get him a bit of success when the game isn't on the line. They did go back to him, even after they lost that game in Perth here, they did go back to him against that, against the game in, against Brisbane here, when they got their first win. He did give up the lead again against the Bandits, which maybe shook his confidence a little bit, so good to see him get out there when there's a lot of runs to play with.
So getting ahead early against number 12, Lee Mills. Playing second base, and he gets him on a breaking ball. Froze him up. And Mills will be sent back to the dugout. A pretty good pitch, and Harada looking pretty comfortable on the mound there. That breaking ball, breaking about a foot.
Yeah, in terms of stuff, he looks like one of the better bullpen pitchers for the Tuatara. Of course, like we keep harping on about in this short season so far, he's maybe a victim of small sample size and just gave up a few hits in a row and an untimely home run.
Candelis, the ABL veteran and center fielder at the plate. 2 outs now. Harada ahead early, no balls and 1 strike.
Of course, it's pretty hard to control as a pitcher of what balls in play do drop for hits. What you can control are how many strikeouts you get, how many walks you give up, and how many home runs you give up, which are the 3 true outcomes of baseball, where luck is not really a determining factor.
2-1 the count now to Candelis, looking to record the final out of this game. Misses a little bit high. Way having a bit of a chat there as he walks in front of the plate. 3-1 the count. That one ripped past Hirasawa at shortstop, so a hit recorded for Candelis. Harada will have to go after Zach Wilson, the first baseman, who has looked very good in this series. Perhaps you can hear in the background there the home field announcer getting the crowd behind Harada to get the final out of this inning. A great vibe at the ballpark here on one of the first truly fine days we've had in terms of weather. The baseball, of course, has been fantastic throughout, but the weather finally agreeing as that one is hit past Hirasawa as well, right up the middle this time. A couple of hard-hit ground balls getting past the infield so far in this 9th inning, and a little bit of something going on for the Cavalry, but the Tuatara won't be shaken.
I'm still confident in my early prediction that this game is pretty much done and dusted, Sam, with 2 out. I'm going to tease the baseball gods and keep saying that this game is over.
All I'm saying is that in the one game out of the 100 where it possibly would go the other way.
I think maybe 1 in 10,000 here, Sam.
And we're looking for a witch hunt. You're the guy that the Tuatara dugout's going to go after. Especially if they watch back the broadcast.
That's true. I am known as the Grinch of baseball already, so I'll be willing to wear that if Canberra do come up with a miraculous victory here.
Number 9 now, Robbie Perkins fouls that one, shooting it, almost getting one of the kids sitting in the right field bleachers. So Harada continues to get ahead of the Canberra hitters. Let's see if he can put Perkins away here. That soft hit ground ball flipped across to shortstop. Not quite in time, says Warren Van Ruin out there.
Oh, a little bit of banter from the crowd. You might have picked that up. Warren Van Rooyen, the local umpire, getting a bit of stick from the crowd. They're forgetting the maybe advantageous call he gave to the home side earlier in the game.
Yeah, that sort of started off the onslaught of hitting. You see Collier just having a talk now. Things getting a little bit heated. Bases loaded. Still not too much pressure, but possibly a little bit of a flashback of game 3, I think it was.
Yeah, that was a 2-out walk-off grand slam as well. They were down by just 3 runs at that stage of the game. They do have an 8-run lead. Can't see the comments, but I might be getting a bit of hate at the moment for my brash call before, but I'm still not too worried at this point. Key thing is just to keep throwing strikes, and eventually they're going to run into an out here.
Number 4, Cam Warner, the third baseman. That one is popped up in the middle of the infield. Renaissance Richards is the man beneath it, and the last out recorded, out number 27 of the game here for the Auckland Tuatara. And an absolutely fantastic demonstration of power and accuracy by the pitchers. The Tuatara very happy to come away with that, and in the end they tie the series 2-2.
Tuatara getting behind an excellent start by Major Leaguer Josh Colmenter, who had his best outing of the season, and that's the first time they've managed to pile the offense on and got a comfortable 9-1 victory to tie up the series and go on to the next weekend, 2-2 against the Cavalry.
Indeed, they'll be very happy for that, keeping themselves in the running in that Northeast Division of the ABL. And a lot of things went right there for the Tuatara. They'll be very happy with that, both defense and offense-wise. As you say, Jun, next weekend there is another home series, and it looks to be an absolute cracker, if I don't mind jinxing it there, of weather. The best weather we've seen so far, so you'd be an absolute fool not to come and witness history as the Tuatara will face the Sydney Blue Sox in their third home series. The Tuatara now with a record of 4 wins and 7 losses. They will look to continue their good work at McLeod Park. So, it has been an absolute pleasure to be with you all. My name is Sam Harvey. It was Jun Kim, the Grinch that stole baseball, with me in the booth today. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next weekend. No.